Sure.
I'll start recording, so you start whenever you're good, bro. You're good to go.
Hello, guys. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys had an amazing Halloween. Threw some candies at kids. So yeah, today I decided to give a presentation. It's not your ordinary psychology lesson about discipline and thinking in the long term, like that Mark Douglas type of stuff, right? So I had last week a call with Nick with Panda, and I saw that he still had some work to do with his psychology side of things. He had clearly an edge, but its psychology was holding him back. So I proposed him a systematic method that I was using, a concept that I read in a book, and he found it quite useful. And I think other people would also find it useful. So therefore, I decided to give a presentation, so I don't need to repeat myself. So yeah, I think it's beneficial for many of you. I hope with this lesson to crank up the maturity in this group and see less blow-ups. So yeah, I see it as an investment in the group and also giving something back for all the knowledge I sucked out of it. So I encourage also other people in this group to open up and organize events, push each other to new levels of success. So yeah, let's start, guys. Right there. Is it possible? Can we stop emotions? Inspired by the mental game of trading. I highly recommend to read this book. This is a source where I got this strategy from. I use it already for quite some time and it helped me a lot against blowing up. So definitely check the source. All right, so I've prepared some questions for you guys. You can answer these, and then at the end of the presentation, we will compare what the answers are. So,
Come in.
first question: does a higher
Yes.
win rate and a better risk to reward make you a better trader?
We're gonna leave it
What do
for
you
now
guys think?
because it's not bruising. Okay.
Does the way you hold statistics make you a better trader? Got that question quite a lot. How do you hold statistics? There must be a way to have no emotions. Right, guys? Having rules. Does it solve your trading psychology? Think about that. Having rules. Does it solve your trading psychology? I see another trading having an amazing strategy. I need it. Right? Controlling my emotions is the answer to my trading problems. Putting my time into strategies will make me more profits. Write the answers down and then we're going to compare at the end. So, in my opinion, rules are just side wheels for trading. Like you stop your potential because after 4 losing trades in a row, you stop, but you don't know if it is variance, right? You could have 4 losing trades and after that, you could have 6 winning. So you stop yourself from your potential, right? After hitting your profit goal, you stop. Let's say you have a profit goal of, let's say, $600, all right, and you stop. You will never have your best day because you stop yourself from your potential. So, in my opinion, rules are just side wheels. So, what's the way then to get rid of those rules, right? I'm giving you guys some golden nuggets. If you want to improve as a trader massively, you need to get rid of these side wheels. They are holding you back from your success. Really important. Is it worth it? And what is the point? In searching for the one best strategy, in wanting to know how others manage, hold their statistics, and execute their trade, think about this. I get this question quite a lot. How do you manage? How do you hold statistics? How do you execute your trade? Having many rules. Kind of spoiled it already. Putting in the many trading reps. I know it's quite controversial, but some of you guys are buying prop firm accounts like lottery tickets and just blowing them up, right? So I don't think that's the right type of mindset, and you're training the bad habits, right? Gambling. Continuing to trade. Load up many prop accounts for Black Friday. Guys, come on, let's stack these prop accounts for Black Friday. When you eventually blow up because you haven't addressed the real issue, all your efforts are gone. Maybe you need to work on your psychology side of things. See it as an investment. You now miss 2-3 weeks from trading, but afterwards you come back, right? So I've got this equality curve from someone, and you can clearly see like right here he made a mistake or variance and he hadn't solved his psychology, and then you get this elevator down. So let's continue. So isn't even possible, guys. You have edge, you do your routine, you journal your trades, you do your statistics, and you still blow up. Very important, I say you have edge, right? Without edge, your psychology is worth nothing. So you need first to have edge. But I think in this group, we have a lot of edge. Is it possible to stop yourself in the heat of the moment? Can you stop your emotions from affecting your decision making? Think about this. Do you know anyone who can stop himself in the heat of greed, tilt? I know I say perfectionism, confidence, and fear. Think about this. Do you know anyone? Well, I don't. Like the trigger, your mistakes you make in trading, your variance in trading, because you don't have like a 100% win rate, of course, right? These are not the reason why you fail in trading. The reason is an underlying flaw, illusion, or belief about the market. That's the real problem. What the hell is wrong with me? Why can I do it? Trading is so simple. You probably, all of you guys already said that. Me too, guys. I was through the same journey. I went through the same journey. So let's start with some basic brain stuff. Let's just go to the biology side of things, because I think this is very important, and we're gonna base our system based on this. So let's continue. So why can you not stop your strong emotions? Well, if you look at your brain, you have a logical part in your brain, the cortex, and you have an emotional part in your brain. That's the only thing you need to know about your brain. So let's say you get some emotional stimulus. It goes to your thalamus. What does your thalamus? Your thalamus decides if your thoughts will go to your amygdala, and then you get your reaction. What you do? You click on your mouse, you enter the order, or your thoughts will go to your cortex and then go to your amygdala. What happens in your cortex? In your cortex happens the pattern recognition, your trade execution, your management, your system, and your rules. So you see the problem already. Your thalamus can decide that your thoughts won't go past your pattern recognition, your execution, your management, your system, your rules, and go straight to your amygdala, and then you get your response. When does this happen? This happens when your brain is under stress, when you're tired, when you're distracted, when you have strong emotions. Then it's more likely that your direct pathway gets triggered. And then only afterwards you start to realize, wait a minute, how could I not see that pattern? How did I not realize this? I think many of you had this already happened, right? So when you have strong emotions, your thoughts will go straight and you get your response. You can throw your pattern recognition, execution, management, system, and rules out of the window. It's very important to understand, guys. If you want to get your thoughts through your cortex, that's where the system is based on, that we will get to, you need to do something. So we are biologically wired to not be a trader. If we wouldn't have this thalamus, we would be the best traders, guys. If you could get our thoughts always running through the cortex and straight to our response. But that isn't the case. We are humans at the end of the day. So let's continue. Firstly, I saw that a lot of traders focus on the wrong things, so I will start where. Where should we focus on as a trader? So, where to focus on? An indicator for me that you guys are focusing on the wrong things is if you have random blowups and it seems that all your effort you put in trading is wasted. Also, if you're constantly searching for a new strategy and think, I have found it. And you somehow think there's an answer to never show weaknesses. And above that, you think it's always possible to be at your best. So let's look at an A to C game analysis. I've took some points from my A to C game analysis and put it into this. Of course, don't blindly copy this because it won't work. You need to recognize yourself. Get your old journals out and try to divide your trades into this. So, your B game. If you need to plot the majority of trades you take, they will happen right here in your B game. The minority of the trades will happen in your A game. This is when you are at your best. And at your worst, your C game, that's also part of the trading, these trades will happen too. So, what is very important to understand is by constantly looking for new strategies, constantly looking to expand your edge, your C game is not improving. You're jumping to trades, your hesitation on entries, you're feeling irritation, a loss hurts, right? Looking to the P&L. That does not improve because you just have expanded your A game. Your curve is just elongating. So, where should we focus on? You should focus constantly on your C game when you reach a new ability in trading. When you learn a new strategy, focus on your C game. What is holding you back from executing that strategy? Because your C game is what holding your trading back. It ripples through your trading. Very important to understand, guys. This is where you should focus on. If you feel like I don't know where to focus on in my trading, just pick 3 points from your C game and focus on that. Start from there. Do not expand your A game. Everyone makes that mistake. They think that consistency can be found in studying new strategies and they constantly look to expand their horizon. But what they don't realize is that their weaknesses are dragging them and rippling through their trading performance. You should have a desire to eliminate your weak points. The only guarantee you have in trading is that you will behave like your C game. That's your only guarantee. That is your expected performance. So, how do you improve? Well, you improve by focusing on your weak points. Your C game then becomes your A game. Your B game then becomes your A game. Oh, excuse me. Your C game becomes your B game. Your B game becomes your A game. And then you can expand for new strategies, new edge, whatever. A smaller gap between your C and A game is better than have it elongated. I hope you guys understand this. This is just where you should focus on because I still see many traders not focusing on the correct things. So let's start with emotions then. If you look at the emotions, tilt, greed, confidence, and fear, you can clearly see that they are building up. Right? It's the same emotion, they have different names. You start with composure, irritation, frustration, and that you get tilt. It's very important to understand that it's the same emotion and they are building up. Same for greed, same for confidence, and same for fear. I hope you guys understand that. So, many of you probably recognize this sentence. How is it possible that I can be thinking something and continue to keep doing something else, even when I know better? Well, what happens is when you have a rough week of trading, you don't really have a reset button, right? So you enter your new week of trading and you are feeling optimistic, but what you don't realize is that below your optimism are accumulated emotions ready to explode. So that's the first problem. You don't have a reset button. You need to see it as a bucket that gets filled. Every time you get a bit of irritation or feel frustrated about the trade, your bucket of tilt is getting filled and filled and filled until you get a mistake or variance happens, and then the bomb explodes. So how do you reset? You probably know already like the common things, right, that we see in the group: visualization, standing up, reading, meditation, breaks, walks, gym. But there is a better way to reset. How to reset? Well, I recommend injecting logic. So you push your thoughts through your cortex. You do this before. I will explain in the next slide how you do this. This injecting logic, now it's just how you use it. You do this method before, after, and during trades. When it is managed during trades. Very important because your brain cannot think on two things. You either think on your trading or you think on your emotions. Not on both, because then it's going to be a catastrophe. Focus on one thought, either trading on emotions. And I highly recommend, just as your warm up for your trading session, you do some your planning, you check your rules, that you also have some kind of cool down after your trading session so you can separate your trading from your personal life. And you can do this also by injecting logic. And very important, repeat this method. It builds the habits. So, how do you do this injecting logic then? Well, let's start with step one. Describe the problem in detail. This could be anything. This could be your feelings, it could be your emotions, this could be what you're doing on the charts, a mistake you made, whatever. Step two, you explain why it makes sense that you have this problem, or why you think or feel or react that way. I recommend to write this down on paper, have a little book, or take a notepad. It really helps. Step three, explain why the logic in step two is flawed. Step four, come up with a correction to that flawed logic. And step five, explain why that correction is correct. Step five is more as a repeating step of step four because repeating really helps in your brain to push your thoughts. I've taken an example for me, so let's see. Step one, what is the problem? Well, I added without planning to my position because I wanted to pass my account and therefore took a larger loss than anticipated. Why does it make sense that I have this problem? Well, I had the urge and mental pressure to pass the account. I did not stick discipline to my risk and therefore created wrong behaviors. Why is that logic flawed? If you want to pass an account, you should rely on your edge, keep the risk the same, and accept that anything can happen. I was wanting something from the market and was not sticking to my system. The correction. I must learn that increasing my position size without planning, even if I win, will not give me a good feeling, guys. This is very important. Even if you win and you did not stick to your risk management, it will not give you a good feeling. And if you take a punch, the punch will hurt more. Step 5. Explain why the correction is correct. Well, being profitable means sticking to my system without deviating from it by increasing size. I do not know what will happen. Increasing size like this sets me further apart from success. So, this simple, childishly simple method, you can do this before your trade, after your trade, and when it is managed. And even after your trading session, when you've had certain feelings coming up, you can implement this method. It is simple, effective, and systematic. That's why I love it. So, yeah, what you actually do with this method is you push your thoughts through your cortex. So, you push your thoughts and you make sure your pattern recognition, execution, management system, and rules stay in place. I hope you guys get it and understand why this 5-step works so well. I also saw some negative self talk in the group, so I wanted to address this too. When you talk negatively, right, about the market or yourself, you set up yourself for your next failure. That's very important. Do not talk negatively about yourself or the market, like I'm stupid, the market screwed me, etc. That doesn't help you. It stops you from analyzing yourself and the market. You and the market are not the problem. The problem is your underlying biases, flaws, and illusions about the market. You should instead try to capture the logic behind the problem. You can do that again with the injecting logic method. So let's go to the next system. How bad do I want it? The goal is not making you perfect as a trader, but making your psychology mistakes smaller. Your goal as a trader is to suck less. It's not to become the best. That's impossible in this high competing world, right? Is to suck less, to improve, to focus on your C game. Emotions are signals if used wisely. Be a detective. Find the details of what blew the bomb. We're gonna get to this, guys, in the next slide. Building your internal GPS by mapping your patterns. That is the goal. The goal is to recognize your emotional pattern just as market patterns on the chart. And eventually, the goal is to prevent that short circuiting from happening. What we discussed right here, right? We want to prevent the short circuiting from happening because that is then the monkey breaks loose. So, time for gold. So, I want to present a method. It's quite simple, effective, and systematic again. So that's why I love it. You build up, you make a table, you divide it in 10 phases. And the logic behind this is that your emotions also build up. So you can divide it in emotionally and technically. I will give in the next slide an example of one of my tables, indicators I built. So what you can do is emotionally, you can write down your thoughts, your behaviors, actions, and things you say. Technically, you can write down the quality of decisions, mistakes you make, perception of the market, opportunities you missed or grabbed, current positions. And yeah, it builds up just as your emotions are building up. If you remember in the beginning of the slides. We can do this for confidence separately. We can do this for greed. We can do this for tilt. And we can do this for fear. And please do this as detailed as possible, because the more detail you put into this, the better you will recognize yourself in the training session. When is the best tracking moment? Well, the best tracking moment is after the bomb exploded. Because then the thoughts are fresh in your mind and you can really map yourself. Don't waste this opportunity, guys. It's like a gold mine. When you exploded your account, then you need to write down these notes because it's really important to then grab that opportunity. You should focus on the small signals and recognize yourself. Don't do this with AI because it won't work. You need to recognize yourself. And I recommend to have at least 3 phases filled in. I would prefer for you guys to fill it fully in and get as detailed as possible. And you know when the map is complete, when you can add nothing new. Yes, over time, let's say like in a year or two, that your trading has improved, your map will change. Just as your C game will change, but you will need quite some time because it's very hard to change yourself. Yeah, so this is based on this tilt, greed, confidence, and fear building up. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, phase 6, phase 7, phase 8, phase 9, phase 10. And I've got here an example of my indicator. I've took some parts out of it. So let's take a look at my example. This is for tilt. Maybe some will recognize themselves, some not. So phase 1, I'm not doing any analysis. I'm randomly clicking my charts and gripping my mouse tight. What I'm doing technically? Well, I find decent areas to take a trade and trade them, but I execute them bad. Well, let's go to phase 2. I start feeling sweaty armpits. I take a mediocre trade and got stopped out. Technically, I look for areas where I can take possible scalps but are not part of my edge. Phase 3. I entered the trade not part of my edge and got stopped out or re-entered. I end up taking the same trade again or add to a losing position. Not good. Phase 4. I feel glued to the screen and I need to know the outcome of this trade. I can stand up from my PC, I need to win this trade. Then we go to the next phase. I feel the loss affected me. It's between me and the market. It has almost grabbed me and I took it personal. I need to be right. I zoom into the chart and look at price as it needs to move my direction. Let's go to the next phase. I feel annoyed about what just happened. I start taking random trades. I fixate on the price itself. The last loss I took was larger than anticipated. I need to make it back. I fixate on my PNL. My PNL is a main tab open. I can't stare away. Phase 8. I am right. I feel frustrated of what just happened. I lost part of me. I don't see a larger context. I add more contracts to my trade blindly. Phase 9. I feel the anger boiling. How could I be wrong? The market is wrong. And then when the price goes against me, I move my stop loss further. Phase 10. Then there's the moment when the monkey is really loose. At this moment, I'm just staring brainlessly to my chart. I want to smash something. I click random buttons on my stream deck, full gambling at this point. So I hope you guys start to get it. The mapping, the indicator you build it up for tilt, confidence, fear, and greed separately. Well, now when you have done the hard work of collecting that data, now the real gold and edge comes. Yeah, I also recommend that it should be even more detailed. I just took some parts of my indicator. I have 3 points per phase, so it's really staying in my face when I'm trading, so I can correct myself in phase 2 and phase 3. We already discussed in the beginning of the presentation how you can correct yourself. Most importantly, inject logic. Then you can do your visualization, gym, breathing, meditation, walks, right? But because I have this indicator of myself, I can correct myself in phase 2 and phase 3. I can correct myself before my emotions start to build up and this short circuiting is happening. I can correct myself and push my thoughts with that injecting logic through my cortex. That means that I can correct myself and get my pattern recognition back working, execution, management, system, and rules. I hope you guys realize the gold in this. How many people cannot do this? So, what are the advantages of mapping? You can spot faster when you are deviating from the zone. Guys, this is an edge in itself. How many people cannot do that? How many people can correct themselves in phase 6 or phase 7 with willpower? Then their account already took a hit. Their emotional capacity took already a hit. They're already draining. While I correct myself in phase 2 and phase 3, my account doesn't take a hit. I don't drain my brain. So that means that you do kind of emotional pattern recognition, right? You can respond faster with a correction. You save mental capacity instead of draining in higher phases with the rest of the people that don't have this too. And you can perform longer. So that means I can sit longer behind my trading desk because I'm not mentally drained. Lower emotions, less tired, no short circuit. Very important. Let's look at this equality curve I got from someone. If you look at this, right, you see he has clearly, I don't know if you can see my drawing on the screen. You can clearly see it is going up, right? That means that this person has edge. Right here, you see he has some kind of variance, mistake that happens, right? You see it right here in his trades. He gets into phase 5 or phase 6. Then, when he took a hit, he's using his willpower to take a break from trading, then coming back. But what he doesn't realize is that he just drained his mental capacity. His emotions are already building up, right? So when he gets again that variance or mistake, his emotions are very high, his mental capacity is drained, he feels tired, he cannot correct himself, and what happens? You take the elevator down. So, controlling emotions and willpower is not the solution, guys. I was not sure if I would add this discipline because I think it's self-explanatory. What you do outside your trading that projects into trading. And yeah, your habit is the most powerful tool of the brain, so use it well, guys. And if you have problems with habits, I highly recommend to read Atomic Habits. It's a great book because you obviously need some kind of discipline to correct yourself in phase 2 or phase 3 and to stick to your system management rules, etc. So, key points. Emotions are not bad, they are signals to deeper flaws. Embrace yourself, guys. We all humans. And please don't talk negatively about yourself. You set up yourself to your next failure. Be as detailed as possible with that mapping. Your job of finding clues does not stop until you have a complete map. So, don't hide, ask why, be a detective, and keep mapping till you find your initial trigger. The more earlier you can detect that you're in phase 1, the more earlier you can stop yourself. And yeah, I think it's self-explanatory to add this map in your pre-market warm-up. Next to your daily plan, you can remind yourself of your emotional pattern. So, final thoughts. I hope with this that you have more control with the process and not the outcome. This is a systematic way to address your psychology. And I hope that the server will be more mature and I see less blowups. The question is, how much pain do I need to start doing the things that really matter? Focus on your C game. Focus on your psychology. Because, yeah, start now. Um, I really recommend for you guys to always think critically about these concepts and just cherry pick the things that you like and fit your personality. I also think there's more than enough edge in this group, so stop searching for new ways of strategies. We can clearly see in the quality curve that there's edge. You just need to stop the elevator from going down. And yeah, I highly recommend to read the book and map yourself, not with AI. It has to mirror you. So these are the answers for the food for thought. Do you guys have some questions? I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think Mark's gonna talk. I think that is Mark, right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you, House,
Yeah.
you walk through something so methodically around the table, right?
Mm.
And systematically working through a staged process of either seeing like a decline in two different categories.
Yeah.
In order to do that, I mean, you're talking like a massive amount of self-reflection there. Could you maybe talk about or describe the moment that you realized that you were doing this in trading and you could break that down into those stages? Like what point did you realize that you were able to do that?
Well, at a certain point, if you journal a lot, you start to recognize that you have the same patterns for, happening, right? It's always the same type of building up of emotions. You just start to see why and then at a certain moment when your emotions are so high, it's like the light goes out. You just don't know what is happening. And so I wanted to know like the origin of what is happening and what's building up to it. And then you start to realize, oh shoot, there's really like it's building up in phases. And then eventually, I would say the answer. Wait, I goes back a slide. How I came up to this is how much pain. Oh, how much pain do I need to start doing the things that really matter? This question is what led me up to analyzing
Yeah.
my psychology, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I think you guys
That's
can
true.
relate with it.
So you discovered it through journaling, like handwritten, like
Yeah,
walking through.
and reading psychology books. Also, yeah, I also did like personality testing, right? Doing a personality test to determine who I am as a person, and then get the most out of my strengths. So yeah, I dived really deep into psychology, and I always got like the same questions, like how do you hold statistics, how do you manage it, how do you execute it? It doesn't matter, guys. If you blow up, you need to really address that psychology thing. It's like if you have 60% win rate, it doesn't matter or in 80%. It's just the capital wise, right? I think it's a psychology thing that a lot of people suffer with. Mm.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, man. It's great.
Yeah, no worries. I hope it will help a lot.
Hey, I wanted to say something too. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Like I know it's also I guess trying to tie in with what Kung Fu Panda was saying as well in terms of bias low. And you guys all know me, like I'm always a short bias trader, and I just
Mhm.
literally hate longing. Like I hate longing, but I long, right?
Yeah.
And the way I go about it is like because I think there's not one fixed way to think. Like when you do analysis, right? Like he's asking, hey, how do you map out the day and how do we fight bias? So for me, I just change it up, right? I change up what
Mhm.
works for me and do it in a way that will affect me beneficially. So me recognizing that I'm a short bias trader, right? And that I'm really not, I really hate longing, right? But when I map out my I guess my analysis for the day, where I still am short bias, regardless of
Mhm.
we've been going up. It's kind of silly to say that we've been going up for months now, right? But I'm still short bias, right? It doesn't change that fact. It just all it does for me is that it allows me to manage it a little better by saying this is just not an area where I would short. Just because I'm a short bias trader does not mean that I have to short. Where I'm just looking for shorts. See, that's where the key comes in, right? For me, at least, right? So anytime like let's say like a vertical distribution where you have the indicators that I believe in my opinion, right, really just make things very easy to, I don't want to say very easy, I have to stop using that, make it manageable to I guess see where the market is going, where I am looking to pull a position, but as long as those rules are still there that saying, hey, these indicators have been working for years now, decades, almost a century, right?
Yeah.
Why? What would make it different? What's changing? What's going to make it different now? Nothing has. So for me to look for something that isn't there, that hasn't been there for years, is just now just being irresponsible at this point. I don't think it has anything to do with bias. So regardless of my bias being a certain direction, all I can do really is just step away from it because I think we have the mindset that we always have to enter or find, where you can
Mhm.
play a defensive role, right? Just like for anyone that has played any type of sport, right? There's an offense and a defense, right? Well, in most sports, from what I understand, right? I don't think there's any in golf, but you know, like let's say in most cases, right? There's an offense and a defense to certain things, right? So for me, I just play defense. If the market is flying and we're vertically distributing, I just play defense in terms of my shorts, right?
Mhm.
So that may help people because I get this a lot on the DMs where hey I pulled this trade but it's showing me this and I got stopped out and I'm like and I tell them hey guys like I always respond with the same question, why are you shorting on something that's literally has not lost and has been uptrending this entire time? Like you're uptrending on the 30, you're uptrending on the 5, you're uptrending on the 1, why short? Right now that doesn't mean we're not talking low time frame scalping. It's a completely different subject altogether. But if you're trading a position that you're biased to and then you are just neglecting the data in front of you, I think the disconnect has nothing to do with emotion. It's just you just being stubborn, like go
Yeah.
with the analysis that you're going to help you analyze it better. So kind of like what it said there, right? Pattern recognition. You may be using. It looks like I think you said amygdala to no, the thalamus to amygdala. You're doing the shortcut, right? Because you want the instant gratification. You're not
Yeah.
considering what pattern recognition, right? Because on pattern recognition, that is being assisted with indicators like the 8 and 24 on every time frame. Why go against that pattern recognition? Like there's no excuse, in my opinion, at that point. But I just wanted to add that in there because I've been looking at that. I was like, man, I like that. I like that because I do when I do find myself low time frame scalping, I am ignoring pattern recognition when I should be. And even for myself, like hopefully this doesn't discourage anyone. Like even for myself, I've been trading for years, scalping for years. Okay, both wins and losses, and I still sometimes like to find the shortcut. So I can relate to how it's difficult for some.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
Thanks,
yeah,
Rive.
those.
If I can, I mean, we just got done talking about no negative talk in all of this, and you're telling us we can't long now. We should be shorting, and I think we should really make sure that we play both sides. Just joking, of course.
Of course, that'll come from you, bro. You like to trade the range, but that's actually a great point to add. Even as much as you like, that's a joke, but that's you
Yeah,
recognizing
yeah.
your trading style, right? So, and just to go
Oh,
off what he said, right? Mark is a trader that recognizes his strengths and the way he does his trades, right? But for unfortunately, right, for the majority of you, you're still finding that, right? So if you're here to learn, right, and get to a level to where you can be like Mark and Housemaster, Larderland, like all these other guys that are doing very well, right? They have found that edge. Maybe you're still searching for that, and that's perfectly fine to be in that. But if you're constantly, like what he said, flip flopping edges and not really sticking to one thing, I think it's important to mirror someone first, right? Follow it to the T, right? And if it works for you, great. And then expand on that more. But if it doesn't work for you, jump somewhere else. But I think we jump too early. That's where you will. This is not science, right? At this point, this is more empirical, right? The observation. But I want you guys to think about the people that have struggled the most. And I'm talking about not people in this group, just anywhere, right? Where they complain on Discord, on general. What normally happens in that? Like, what are the common things that happen? They look for brand new setups. They ask what made you take that trade. Not always, okay? Because I know people ask that, but they're trying to flip flop so many different things way too soon, and they're just confusing their mind on one thing, and they don't really know the structure of where to start, right? It's almost like, I guess the best way I can kind of relate it to is that, I mean, not knocking MMA or anything, right? But like, you're just trying to learn MMA when you should be learning a discipline first. Because if you look at the best MMA fighters out there, they actually, started with a base first, right? A base discipline and then expanded. Versus somebody who's like, when I hear someone's, oh, I learned MMA, I'm like, bro, you don't have a discipline. You got to have a discipline first to have a foundation, and then you can go off and learn all the different things. Because that's what I have done, right? I started with a foundation. Mine's profile, rotations, and trend. And I expanded to trend. I've only expanded to trend recently. If you guys look at the old AMAs and all that, I was all profile. I like inside days. Now I like trends because trends are a lot more clear for me now. Because you see, even myself, I'm expanding over and over, right? But there's always a base, right? There's always a base. The base is always
mm,
that I've added the trend part of my profile as is the imbalances side, right? You'll often hear me say, I don't really look at the 8 and 24 when we're trading inside PD. I mean, I'll still consider them, but in reality, it's not really beneficial to me. It's only beneficial when we're in a breakdown. When you're trading in an imbalance, searching for value, that's when the trends really start coming to play, right? So that's really what
mm.
I've learned incorporating what the base foundation is rotations. Because where I struggled before were when we were trading in an imbalance on a one directional move outside of PD. And I found myself shorting and shorting and shorting and shorting, or longing and longing and longing. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Yes, I would get a crazy move at the end of the day because sometimes those reversals happen. But what ends up happening, because I'm so exhausted from being stopped out over and over, that all it did was break me
Yeah,
even at the end of the day. And that's just, so I
yeah.
recognized that mistake, and I had to find an area where, hey, this is a weakness of mine. This is C. Okay. I need to get to B and A, right? Kind of like what we're basing it off this. So I had to look for, hey, how do those trend traders trade? Obviously I asked some of my mentors, like some of you guys know Charles. He's like, bro, just turn on your 8 and 24 and come back to me. And then I did. He kind of uses it only on low time frame, where I expanded it more to where I see it on the 5, I see it on the 30. You guys see it on the 4 hour, the daily. You guys see it everywhere now. So it's, just expand on it more. See where your weaknesses lie. Understand what kind of trader you are first. And that is, what is that? What am I all saying here? What's your edge, right? Some of you don't even know it yet.
Mm.
When I ask you, hey, what kind of trader are you? You're like, I'm this. And then, or you'll say, I'm a rotational trader. I trade profile. If you say that, but do you really? Like that's just kind of like a self-reflection moment. Because I already know what Mark is. Mark likes triangles and likes ranges. There's nothing wrong with that because it works for him. Like I said, you flip a coin and you make money, dude, I don't want you to teach me. You know what I'm saying? You read zodiac signs and read stars for trades. That's fine with me, right? I want to learn it, right? But yeah, just
Moon cycles.
yeah, moon cycles.
It's actually a that's actually a really good point in terms of I know there's like hands and everything going up everywhere. I've never done this before, so I mean, and I see cat eyes here. So I think one of the things that wasn't really spoken about well that you sort of touched on, Rive, was that you have to find your edge, and we talk about that. But what that you have to then also be comfortable knowing that just because Rive trades this way doesn't mean that's going to be the way that you trade in order to be profitable. And that's okay. And so all of these things that are being shared in this server are there to disrupt or for you to take on board the way that you're trading to actually find what is going to work for you. And the only way you can do that objectively is through not only monitoring yourself, but also your stats to find it and then to fine tune that. I think that's such an important thing to recognize as well. So, like now, how do we do this? So, cat eyes here. Does cat? Do you need to unmute so chat, or how does that work?
Oh, I'm here. I
There we
was
go.
just patiently waiting.
Hello.
Yeah, first of all, this was way more in-depth than I expected, so thank you for that.
Or
I had one initially question. Sometimes I live in the EU, so New York is an afternoon for me. Sometimes I have a rough day or bad sleep, or I feel stressed about personal life, and I notice that I'm not in the perfect place to trade. I have a very hard time to decide not to trade or make the decision, and mostly the wise decision to be more careful in the market, but I have a hard time doing so. And maybe I can combine it to my other same-ish question.
yeah, sure.
How do you correct yourself when you end up in phase two or you recognize you're in phase three?
Well, I think I do this by this injecting logic step. I have a document, right? I just describe the problem, what I feel, and then I explain why it makes sense. And then, yeah, like this 5 step I use, I just like the systematic way, right? I can always approach my brain on the same way, and it's simple. I just approach myself like this when I feel I'm not in the zone, right? Or I'm in phase two or phase three. But let's say you feel tired or something, I'm just not gonna trade. Like if I'm tired, there are a lot of different things you can do as a trader, right? You can review your journals, you can backtest some new strategies. You don't need to trade, right? Like backtesting and doing journaling takes already a lot of time. So I think like sharpening the sword when you feel tired, you still work on your trading, but you're not trading, right? So if you don't feel like you want to trade because you had a rough day, do something else. Sharpen your sword or focus on your C game. What you can do to improve your C game. So there's quite a lot you can do in trading.
Yeah, okay. That's actually a
Maybe
good
you really want to add
answer.
something on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like to address the issues that I know most people come across, right? Like the majority here are what prop traders, right? So and let's just be real. Prop rules are meant to be disadvantages to you. Like they're meant for you to lose. Okay, that's the only way for the business to work. So for me, right, when anyone is struggling for trading a prop, I'll just use my cousin as an example. Okay, two things. Obviously, we can go down the list of being very generic. Hey, don't size too much. Hey, use a wider stop loss. All these things. But for me, okay, what I felt that has the most impact for me is getting past the psychological hump and pressure of the payout window. Okay, so we'll just take a 150K account. What's the buffer limit? Is 5 grand, right? And so in most cases, people are trying to make 5,000 in 8 days. I don't think they realize, even for a professional trader, that is very difficult. Okay, and this is where desensitization comes in. Oh, I made 1,000 in a day. It's super easy. I'm going to tell you right now, as a full-time trader, okay, for many years, 1,000 a day on a real money account is ridiculous to just even assume to make. Okay, it's very difficult. Okay, consistently. Okay, consistently. Okay, just remember the thing that I've always said: $400 a day, 100K a year. Okay, now if you take that, and I want you guys to take all your failures, and I'm not speaking down on anyone. Take all your failures on how long you've been trading on this journey. Maybe some are several months, few months, maybe several years. Okay, can you make 8 profitable days? And let's say your buffer is only at like $800, making $100 a day. Now you're at the window of a withdrawal. Now, anything you make after that, once you pass that buffer, it's yours. Because I think it took my cousin, I want to say 15 trading days to make 5,000. Okay, maybe more. I think it was more, a little, maybe about 20. Okay, so in the beginning where he was at 7 days, I think he was at 1,700 or something like that. He's like, and I say, hey, I'm almost there. And then I said, that's good. And then what I've noticed over time with him, he's like, he doesn't care if he made 200 on day 12. He's like, dude, this is awesome. Like, I know I'm gonna be able to withdraw. It's kind of like that because you have to look at all the things that are stressing over you, right? And look at that, because I'm not gonna tell you, hey, don't trade. Even though I've said this before in AMAs, I know sometimes it's harder to I guess overcome. Like I said to you guys a rule, like if my wife and I are fighting, I don't trade. Sometimes her and I we had a passionate discussion the night before, and I still trade the next day. So I don't even follow that, right? Because I know sometimes that we just can't stop ourselves, and I'm not going to shame anyone for that. But what we can control, right? Meaning like, hey, don't be confined by the pressures of a prop telling you have to withdraw in 8 days. And the only reason why I say this is because I've seen over like 20 DMs. It was like, I was at, day 7. I'm like, bro, like you were at 4,000. Why do you need to make $2,000 so you can withdraw 1,000? You're at 4,000 on day 7. You see, everyone following what I'm saying here? Like, you guys are playing by their rules. Don't do that, because and I know everyone will speak on this that has received the withdrawal. When you guys receive that first withdrawal, you take every precaution to protect it because you know it's a moneymaker. So why are you rushing the process of trying to make it first when just look in hindsight how long it's been before you've been trading and you haven't made anything, right? Let's say it's been 3 months and you haven't received the payout. Well, what if you made $100 or $50 every single day for the last 3 months? How big would your account be? Are you guys tracking? Hopefully, I think hopefully it's helping a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if someone has some questions, or Mark wants to add something, or Mimo, or
Yeah,
I think
please.
Mimo's jumped on. I'd love to hear Mimo.
Guys,
Tell us about your chart, man. Tell us about that P&L chart.
sorry, Mimo.
firstly, thank you so much for this, Housemaster. It's been great. It's been really good. So I wasn't expecting it. Like Cat I said, in the detail that's come out is pretty cool. So basically, I started on Friday. I wrote in my diary 5 times that today I will only take planned trades. And I didn't stick to that. And the question is, say for example, you start by doing your TA, looking at all the time frames, saying I'm only going to take these are the trades I'm taking. But you're sitting there all day in front of the computer. There's only so much you can distract yourself with by watching other videos and trying to add value and knowledge. How do you stop the monkey from like grabbing that hand and taking trades just by watching the charts? Because that's the hardest thing. Because it feels like I've got alien hand syndrome. Like my face is clicking one way and my hand's clicking away, and I don't even know what I'm doing. It's like
But that means that your trading system is not yet like your personality. But of course, you need to train your discipline to wait out the trades. But if you cannot wait on 2 trades a day, then there's a solution by either trading multiple markets or expanding your edge, right? Because you need more triggers, right? I'm the same, right? I need more an active trade style. So that's why I also focus in on more edge, right?
Yeah.
or more markets to keep my brain active, because I also know, yeah, when I'm getting bored, I'm starting to get up in higher phases. So one solution is either more markets or find more edge. But like if the market is doing nothing, can you then sit on your hands? And that's the question, because are you disciplined enough when there are really no opportunities to then sit on your hands? That's a question you need to answer for yourself. But if your system that you have right now is not active enough, then you can expand on it, right?
Yeah.
Like
I like I like you
fitted
said
your
look at
personality.
I like
Yeah,
you said
sorry.
look at other markets because that's one way of kind of. 'Cause I feel kind of bad when I'm not trading and I'm not clicking. I feel like I'm not doing anything. So it's looking at other markets is quite is yeah.
Shouldn't
It's
be
a good.
scalping. You can also do like swing or investing, right? It doesn't have to be scalping. Just keep your brain active. It
Let me
depends. Yeah, sure.
sorry, House. No, go finish,
No,
please.
no, no, no. I'm done. So it's your turn.
Look, for those of us that play cards, like I know there's some Hold'em players in here, really, but I mean, think about it. How important? So you can check, right? You can raise, or you can fold, and all three of those are like a strategy in playing cards, right? So no trade is still a trade. I
That's
mean, if
very
you think
true.
about it, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so that it's still a strategy.
So if you don't have a
And
hand, you're
if
not
you're
going to
not,
keep putting chips in and keep raising when you
well,
don't
I
have
mean,
one. Just check it.
yeah, that's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Well, even checking. Well, maybe thinking about not taking a trade is like checking when you're
Yeah.
playing Hold'em.
Absolutely.
So true.
It's you're still using it to try to take an advantage of some way, shape, or form, right? You're still in the game, but you're choosing not to do anything at this point because strategically it makes more sense.
Yeah. I like that.
I
Good.
completely agree with
I'm,
Mark.
I'm glad.
Thank you, Mimo.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
Well,
glad.
I'll just chime in if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Go.
Okay. So I'll try not to rant too much, but this is like a I love this topic. It's because I think there's like two sides to it. One I agree with psychology. I think it's like the biggest thing ever, but I also think it's like the most irrelevant thing ever. And I know that's an oxymoron. Um, but I think,
Well,
and I'll probably be repeating a bit of what Rivalry said, but you know, I've had five XFAs for the last like 5 months, and it's the longest I've ever had them. And I recently became profitable where I can pay bills, etc., all that good stuff, because I am full time. And the biggest change for me, and I mean, I worked like every day, 7 days a week, 365 for like 2 years before I saw a payout, and no days off. And I still couldn't get it right. And I used to just sit there and be like, how can you work so hard and still not make it? Like it's a joke. And Rivalry like nailed it. It's like there's a few points I'll say is you absolutely need to know what your edge is, and 99% of people don't. You can't. I think Rivalry said it in CC. You have to be able to explain it to a 5-year-old, and I did not know what my edge was. I was like, oh, key level, swing failure pattern, long, blah 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 blah. But I had no idea that I was longing into the previous day high, or a major resistance, or going against a trend that like has been literally every 30 minutes has been one time framing. We're in a vertical distribution. Just because of my key level hit and it's the setup I like doesn't mean I take it. So like I don't think a lot of people know what their edge is, first of all. So if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, like I could explain it in 7 different languages. That's how well I know my edge now. But I didn't 6 months ago, and I didn't for the first like 18 months. So that's the first thing. The second thing that like really like helped me keep all my XFAs and go live is I sized down dramatically. Like everyone wants to make it tomorrow. And I know it's corny and it's cliche and you got to be patient. I'm telling you right now, there's no one in the group who wanted to make it more than I did. And I just needed it now. I put in the work. I deserved it. Give me the big 10K days now. And it just doesn't work that way. Yes, you might get your 10K day or whatever, but you're going to blow up eventually. So the first thing I did on my XFAs when I just had enough where I was like borderline in tears of frustration was I was like 1 micro on ES. That's all I'm doing. Like that's so boring, right? It's like my biggest days would be like $70 per account. But like I stopped freaking out in trades. I like to hold my trades. I don't like to scalp. I like to like If it's a move on the A or B session, I want to hold it as long as I can. But when I'm risking $400 per account, you know, that's 2K, I'm losing my shit. You know, like, oh, break even. Oh, you know, should I add? Should I close? P&L in front of me. But now it's like, dude, you're risking $50. Like, who cares? It's 5% of your overall DLL. Do you know how many times you're going to have to lose these XFAs? 20 days in a row of losing. If you have an edge, it's very, very unlikely. So I saw someone the other day, I obviously won't call them out. They had a 50k XFA and they were like trading NQ. Like trading NQ? Like what are you like and you have a 50k account? Like your balance needs to be huge to be doing NQ. So like this is where the psychology for me doesn't really play a part. It's you're putting yourself in this scenario, right? If you put $1 on the line, you're not going to have a psychology problem. When you put 10,000 on the line, of course you're going to have a problem. It's 50% of your, you know, daily loss limit or your account. And these are all things, like I'm not speaking anything that hasn't been said before. But once you kind of like realize that this is the issue, and you just have enough of it and you're like fuck it, I'm gonna do one micro, and then you build up, and now I don't obviously trade one micro anymore. I can do a mini, but if I lose $300 per account, that's 1,500. That's like 5% of my balances. Like that's not a big deal, or 2.5%. It's really not that big of a deal, right? So people need to size down, and that's coming from Mr. Didn't size down for 18 months. Thirdly, I this is again the reason I love the psychology talk and also hate it is like I agree with everything that was said in the presentation. It was fantastic, but all it takes is one bad day. Like Rivalry said, a fight with your wife, your husband, all it takes. Like one, you can build an account to 1 million and then boom, over 6 months, and then in one day wipe it out. So as good it is writing on your Kindle or your Remarkable, because I've done all this, get it tattooed on your arm, I've done all this, blah, blah, blah. You have to have like safety markers in place that the one day your wife pisses you off or you get stopped by one tick, that you can keep your shit together. I consider myself, and I know Rivalry and other people in this group are also extremely disciplined in their personal life. And I used to sit there and be like, how can I be so disciplined in my personal life, never miss a day in the gym, blah, 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 but still lose my shit in trading? And I'm just like, we're not built for this. Like, we just aren't. And as much as you want to write it down on a wall that I'm not going to tilt, I'm not going to do this, you have to put safety precautions in. And I am a freak when it comes to this. I have a daily loss limit on Top Step. I cannot access Top Step. I use Cold Turkey, so I cannot go on Top Step. I have a limit on the contracts I can use. I have a limit on the times I can trade. My computer closes down after a minute of inactivity. I do not go near my computer. I can't mark it. I can only limit. I'm trying to think of what else do I have. I have a bunch of, like, I basically, I sit there, I'm like, how can I not screw Hugh today? It's not about edge. I know what my edge is. I just have 700 parameters in there. And I haven't had a tilty day in like 4 months because I can't. It's like, even if I lose a trade, okay, cool. My DLL is, 800 per account. That's times 5 is whatever. But that's only 2 or 3% of my balance. No biggie. We come back tomorrow. I get a 2-hour trade. I'm up for the week. But you just can't rely on yourself. Like these people who are like, yeah, you see it online. They're like, oh, I had my account balance at 10K and I blew it in a day. How the fuck do you blow an account of 10 grand in one day? You just can't. You cannot allow that stuff to happen. And I don't care how stoic and great you are. And trust me, I believe you are. All it takes is one day, bro. You're human. You have emotions. It's going to happen. So you need to put everything in place. I don't care if your wife needs to pin you to the bed, pause, tie you up. I don't care. You are your worst enemy. And, one thing actually Rivalry said, and sorry, I'm ranting a bit, but just something that really clicked for me a few months ago. I think Rivalry said something along the lines of like, oh, I bought myself like a PS5 or Xbox to like distract myself. I did that because I don't even play Xbox, but I bought one just to distract myself because I was like, I'm full time. You feel like if you're an ambitious person, you feel like you have to trade. Now I just do everything I can not to trade. I check the charts every 25 minutes because I trade the 30-minute, and I set my limits. I walk away, set my TP, and that's it. Like, that's it. So, to sum it up, yes, I think psychology is huge, but I think a lot of people lean on it also because they're like, oh, my edge, I don't know if do I have an edge? And then you really need to like safeguard yourself because all it takes is like one day. And then finally, anyone who got rich quick probably gave it back just as quickly or got extremely lucky. And if your goal is to be extremely lucky, then I don't know, log on to Bybit and do like 1000 leverage and pray. But like, it's boring. Listen, I hate saying this shit. It's so boring, but it's so true. Slow, slow, slow. And then I remember when I was making $50 per account, I was like, oh, it's $200, 250 a day. It's not that exciting. But now it's like, oh, 1200 per day per account. Holy shit, that's 6 grand. And then I'm hoping in 6 months it will be like, oh, that's 40 grand. But I just know you can't force it because I am Mister. All I did was try and force it.
That's
Absolutely.
yeah, that's super helpful. And speaking of psychology, man, I don't want this to be made the main point because you made so many great points. But can we please get a soundbite of you saying how the fuck did you blow 10 grand again with that accent? Because
Yeah,
I think
it would.
that'll
Yeah,
be a
imagine you
super
played that
motivational
every.
boost.
Yeah, and listen, I'll be very transparent about this. I actually, it's funny you said poker. So I actually have two jobs. I'm a full-time trader, and I actually play poker full-time. I'm in Austin, Texas right now. I've been grinding for the last 3 months. It's easy money out here. But
Nice.
but the funny thing is with poker, especially at the lower levels, you can just print money if you play ABC. Just like Rivalry says, if you just follow the 30 and take a short at the 24 and put your stop loss up on whatever, and you just wait for a 1 to 2 hour or whatever. Like my biggest nights, I lost 16K in a night about 2.5 months ago. And any night I have a big, and 16.5K is huge in one night. Any night I have a big blow up, it's because I didn't follow my rules, right? It's not because of the market. It's not because someone outplayed me. I would say out of 1,000 hands that I've lost, I'd say I've been outplayed maybe five in the losses. And the other 100 losses were me being a fucking idiot, right? So it's really going to be up to you. And I find it funny when people say I just can't get it right. You obviously don't want to get it right because if I set you on fire, you would do everything in the world to get to a pool, a shower, or whatever to set you on fire. You just don't want it badly enough. Like when you're at the verge of tears, you're close because I don't cry over anything, but trading's the first thing that, like, if I'm being very honest, like tears were there. They may not have streamed down, but they were definitely there. So I think everyone just, if there's one thing I've learned from successful people, it's just experience. It's all rivalry's not rivalry because he woke up and was born to be a trading genius. You know, all the other guys here who are more profitable than me, they're not geniuses, just experience. So you just don't quit. Try and get a little better every day. Put safeguards in. Get your strategy under. Like I could never do what Mark does, range trading. I'd rather jump off a cliff. But if that's what
I
you're
feel
good
so
at,
alone.
yeah, if that's what you're good at, then like cool. Like I don't get it personally, but like who am I to like Charles, who's Rivalry's mentor, and I've been with him for a while too, says if you are trading moon signs or whatever, like good for you. Like I don't care once it makes money. So you have to like really ask yourselves like, oh, I might read this book and I feel really inspirational after this guy said this and blah blah blah. But like you need to sit down like how is Hugh gonna not fuck Hugh today? Pause. Like you have to be very honest and it's a really difficult conversation to have because it's just very difficult. You have to be people don't want to be honest with themselves. If you're an alcoholic, you're not going to sit there and go, "Oh, I'm an alcoholic because I'm a fucking loser and blah blah blah." Right? They'll make every excuse up, right? And I get it. Your brain's wired to make an excuse. I had a bad family upbringing, blah blah blah. It's you versus you. Like it really is that simple. And I wish people here who are not, anyone who's not profitable here, like literally not profitable, one micro. Do it for 30 days. Just one fucking micro. And Atomic Habit, like Housemaster was saying, best book there is out there. Like
Yep.
30 days, one micro, I guarantee you will change your trading. Guarantee it. Or at least improve it.
Man, I think there's a few of us who would probably love to see like a couple of like trading journal recaps or something like that at some stage thrown back up in that area. That'd be pretty sick seeing that.
Yeah.
And it's something
That'd be pretty
I was
cool.
like I must do a presentation on how I, because there's people in here that I've tried. So I'll say one last thing and I'll leave it at this. And there's some people in here that were in this group. I set up a group a while ago that was like 10, 12 traders that I knew personally who I thought were like really good, all better than me. Who was in it? Austin was in it. CM Gaines was in it. Can't remember that girl from Moondream was in it, etc., etc. And I was like, I'm gonna learn, kind of like this Discord or whatever. I'm gonna learn, blah 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 blah. And then I just realized that like they had the exact same problems as I had. None of them were more talented than I was, or anything like that. They had the exact same problem as I had. So I was like, these people who are really good traders, who I think are better than me, have the exact same issues that I do. So then you just kind of realize you're like, oh, there is no magic sauce. There is no magic trend line. There is no magic EMA. It's me. Like, it is me. Everyone's Googling, taking new courses, watching more videos, and trust me, I've done ICT, I've done EMAs, I've watched every fucking course there is. I've been in chart champions, I've done it all. It's all the same shit. Single prints are fair value gaps, TPO, volume profile, breakers, blah blah blah. It's all the same shit. Like it's all like your man Kane did it. He drew a line on a chart and he was like, there's a random line and he was like, resistance, support. Like, it's all bullshit. The answer is you. It's corny, but it's so true. If you are an EMA trader, trade EMAs with the correct size when your setup allows, and just repeat, repeat, repeat. There's no magic pill. There is no magic pill. There's no magic course. No magic fucking rivalry who's gonna hold your hand. Every day, it's just you versus you. It's that
Yeah.
simple. The more days you can stack with your one micro, then you can start doing two micros. But what people won't do it, they'll be like, "Oh, this Hugh guy's talking one micros. I've been trading 2 years." Yeah, but you haven't got a payout. You know what I mean? Like, you're 5K down the drain in prop firms. Pick one prop firm, one. I was trade copying like fucking 20 accounts when I hadn't even got a payout. Like, what am I doing? 20 accounts and I haven't got a payout? Like, who do I think I am? It doesn't work. Get one account. Like, if you're not profitable, get one combine tomorrow with Top Step. They're the easiest to follow, just in rules. Risk. What's a 3K probably 2K drawdown on the 50Ks. Risk like $100 in the trade or $50 on the trade. I know it's boring. I know you're not gonna have your Lambo tomorrow, but I'm telling you, you'll be able to sit and trade much longer, and you won't panic because it's $50. Who cares? When it's 5K, yeah, your monitor is going out the window.
Yeah, yeah, it's very truly said. We'll definitely have to.
Absolutely.
I'll be definitely looking out for that in the trade journal, and we definitely need to also get that soundbite off of you too, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
That's absolute gold for me. But I know
Yeah.
Cryptic's been sitting here for a while, probably getting antsy,
yeah.
ready to
Dude,
speak
Cryptic's a
loud
beast
like he
too.
always does.
Do you think, Cryptic?
Lauderland, thanks for adding them, man.
No worries, bro.
Completely agree.
Is Cryptic still awake? Tell me he's still awake. No, no. If you might be muted, buddy.
Yeah, I think you're still muted.
Well, this is awkward. Oh gosh, but could not have said it more really in terms of changing something up. What I learned, what you're talking about, Laura, is you were going at it a million miles an hour from what I'm hearing, like all these different ways. And what you ended up doing was just doing the radical difference, right? You like completely downsizing, even moving up in the time frames of your charts, rather than getting out, like staying on the 1 and the 5 and all of that, like drifting all the way back out into the 30. And you tried something completely different to find what that work how that works for you. And I think that's probably one of the key things that seems to be on repeat from from the beginning of all of this to where we are now, is
And
finding that
everyone
one
knows
extra
this.
thing that was that edge. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah, they
knows
just
that
don't want
this
to
is
do it.
something.
They don't want to do
Yeah,
it.
I didn't wake up and go, I'm a genius, I figured it out. When I think of my success as trading, I look back and I'm like, yeah, this is every podcast told me this, every book I read told me this. And I don't know what it is about humans. I did hear a psychologist talk about it once. I could tell you, Mark, that like if you walk down that road, you're gonna get stabbed. I know 100%, and you'll probably still go down the road. I don't know what it is. It's not that you don't believe me or don't trust me. It's just there's something in human psychology where we need to fail and figure it out ourselves before, like, none of this stuff, Housemaster was basically quoting Jared Handler's book, which is a great book. None of this is new. You can call it C game or whatever, but yeah, people need to look at what they're doing wrong
Mhm.
and do the opposite. Like I was like you said, Mark, I was like on the 5 minute. I had no idea what the daily looked like. You know what I mean? Or what the
Mhm.
30 minute looked like. And people are on these 1 minute charts being like, do you know you're shorting into the previous day low? Do you know you're longing into like gigantic resistance? Like, yeah, it's you have to do the op. If something isn't working, you should probably do the opposite. You know what I mean? Like for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Looks like Cryptic jumped off mute now.
Yeah, I hear you
Yo,
talking. Or I you? I hear you talking. Go ahead, try again.
nice. I think it's working now.
Yep, good to go, bro. It's all you.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. I love this conversation. I just got a bit of the end of it. And in my own cryptic way, I want to add a bit of a unusual angle to this because I think everybody's journey, just looks really different. And so, just sharing our own perspectives in terms of how we've gone about, in this tough journey, I think hopefully will help. But I kind of approach things in like a way that um, not to get too like religious or whatever your worldview is, but like I think with trading being essentially the most difficult profession that I have personally come across, and I've been very fortunate to work with PhD level physicists, mathematicians, fucking like Nobel Prize winners. I've been very blessed with who I've worked with in my life through the consulting work that I do. And I kid you not, nothing against all those other professions, but the intensity and the style in which trading will test your character and everything that you're made of and expose weaknesses you didn't even imagine. We heard, Rivalry say this like from the beginning. You're going to be shocked and surprised at what comes out of you, right? So I approach it nowadays, and this isn't how I started off with, but whereas I think year one, back when Rivalry was starting the Futures channel on Chart Champions, a lot of us were there. It was exciting times because low liquidity, low scalping opportunities in Bitcoin um, made it so that it was very stressful. And then I looked at the indexes and I was like, holy fuck, we can scalp everywhere. Like, this is amazing. I'm looking at like 10 setups a day, like, holy, and I only need to take like 2 or 3 of those to make like 400 or 500 bucks. Like, this is insane. Right. And so technically speaking, I think for us that could catch on to Rivalry's, PB1, PB2 at that time, and begin to even remotely apply it beneficially. Like we kind of had a head start in the sense that the edge was there. That journey that so many traders have to go through, where they have to discover an edge, they have to backtest and prove an edge. Like we already had 50% of the hard work done in the sense that we were just given a lot of technical edge, right? And so um, that I think in one sense is an advantage, but it can also be a huge challenge because when you see the real potential of the kind of money you can make in these markets consistently, if we can stay disciplined, then it's like when you don't make that, it's almost more like traumatizing, right? Because you're just like, what? Like it's right there. Like, you know, for a long time, you guys would hear me say like I would find, no joking, guys, like 7 to 8 PB2s, A plus setups per day, like all throughout last year. You guys should see me posting about the shooting stars on the EMAs and catching these like PB2s, almost no risk, such localized risk. It was retarded, like 3 to 1 risk to reward. You could be wrong half the time and still make a ton of money. And it was just like, so because we were given the edge. And I get why Twitter, including good old Lancelot, Lance B, I think it's right for people to be like, hey, it's not all psychology. If you don't have an edge, like, F off. Like, you don't even have a hope. So I like that, right? Like, hey, do the work, find your edge, find a real technical grounding that you can build off. But when you're already giving that, then there is nothing else other than the non-technical side. And that's what I'm calling trading psychology, right? And so what the kind of full circle that I've come to is that where year one, I would just hate the non-technical side because I was like, I don't get it, bro. Like, I hate this because I see all these trolls, I see all these frauds online, and they don't actually have an edge, and they're ripping people off. And I have an edge, but I'm not making money. Like, it's my tilt, it's my over aggressiveness, it's my revenge trading. All those things are what's holding me back. And honestly, guys, I thought like it's not fair. I did the work. I did the hard work to like build an edge. Um, I learned it. I studied the fuck out of rivalries. Whatever you put out, I ate all of it up. Um, and it's like I did the hard work, so therefore I deserve the benefit. I deserve to make money. And so in a certain way, I thought like this sucks. Like I know plenty of superficial people that hardly put an effort in, and they log on and they just take some random trades, but they're consistent with like ICT, and they don't know shit about delta or order flow and all this stuff, and they're just like whatever, but they're consistent with their rules, so they make money. And I'm like, and that's just not fair. Like I have such a deeper understanding of the market, and when I'm on, I can take way better trades and have a better winning percentage. But then it's like that one day of the month or that one day of the week when I'm up massively, and then I would size up because I'm cocky or I just think I'm invisible now, invincible. That would break everything, right? Like months of work would all of a sudden vanish, and I'd be like, that's just not fair. Like, and yet all these superficial ass people with ICT are like getting paid, and I hated that, right? So I'm just kind of giving you the context with this psychology thing in terms of like where I started and then where I'm trying to work towards, and hopefully doing a better job of like, having started to get paid. And that is that, like, I love what good old ladder. I like to call him Ladder Land because just climb the ladders. But he was saying like, in a certain sense, we're not built for this. We're not built for like this kind of risk assessment. And I agree with that, but I think there's a flip side to it. There's a flip side to it, right? Where yes, maybe biologically or instinctually, we're not built for this type of risk assessment, right? We're like risk averse and the fucking tigers, and we're cavemen and we just want to avoid risk and all that shit, right? But on the other hand, if there's one thing humans are also ingenious about, maybe unconsciously, is that life will bring about the challenges that you need in order for you to grow as a human.
So
And
fucking true.
I can I can tell you guys countless stories where life brought those challenges to me and I buckled and I turned away. Whether it's career, whether it's relationships, right? Like the one that got away and it's like, what the fuck? Like you walked away from that? Like you're insane. What the fuck's wrong with you? And and I can tell you other times where I took that opportunity. I took, there's a major life-changing opportunity and I stepped up and I followed through and I had the bravery, I had everything going for me, right? So when I think about trading and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, okay, some days still I'll go on a streak guys, where I'll have like 90% win rate and just take these like super clean PB2s, crazy localized risk, right? And I'm just feeling like in the flow. I'm literally feeling like I'm with the universe. That I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And and then all of a sudden, there'll still be these days where, for no good reason, I just start taking insane trades, like just no strategy, like just crazy trades where I'm like going against OTFs even because there's like a fucking resistance zone or something, or even like a tier one, but I don't even wait for my candle patterns like I usually do, or like the EMAs, nothing. That still happens to me, guys. And on those days, right, still the fucking devil of like revenge trading or pure unadulterated frustration and anger inside me at myself, and sometimes even at the market, even though I know better than that, but it still comes up, right? And but what I want to share with you guys is is that when I've begun to have a fundamental shift in my perspective of how I'm beginning to tackle these psychological challenges that I think are very unique to trading, it's when I began to approach it as, instead of, hey, we're not built for this and we're trying to overcome something, I'm trying to look at it as trading in the markets might be one of the most ingenious human creations ever because it's so pure in its experience. No one's forcing you to take a trade. You're not going to lose money if you're not trading. Like there's very few professions where we can do that, right? Like if I'm a contractor, I'm doing consulting. Like if I don't start clocking hours, I'm not making money, right? Like, or in the job, like if you just stop working, well, you don't make money. But like here, you can literally pick and choose exactly when you want to participate, when you want to enter, right? And so therefore, the accountability is 100% on you. And so I think in a certain sense, yes, of course, market makers are manipulating the market, everything else, but it's one of the purest and most just activities we can possibly partake in because of the fact that it's completely up to your free will. Of when you want to participate, how you want to participate, how disciplined you're going to be, how undisciplined you're going to be. All of it is essentially 100% up to you of how you want to participate with it. Once you're in the market, okay, it's going to do what it's going to do. The probabilities are going to play out. Market makers and everything else. That's just how it behaves. But you are in full control. You take full responsibility for interacting with it. And so therefore, um, the way I'm approaching it is that if I have a tilt day or if I have a day where it's like, oh shit, like, damn, there comes like the revenge feeling back again, or that pure anger at myself of like, you went on like 9 days, 10 days. Guys, one time I had a month where my win rate was like insane for the entire month. Hardly lost any trades, was so disciplined, only took A+A PB2s, and it was crazy. And I got like a pretty big pay from that. And right afterwards, like just went on a really bad streak, right? So when that hits, right, the shift I want to share with you guys that I'm trying to make is that to look at it as a blessing. And I know it's like it sounds kind of insane, and we've all been there when tilt hits, and just like it's maddening. You're just like, how can I be so good for so long on so many trades, takes beautiful trades, disciplined trades, and then just this moment of madness for like 5 or 10 minutes, or maybe like a day hits, and I don't even recognize myself. Where did all that discipline go? Like what that literal f, right? And because you can't experience that really, I think, in almost anywhere else in life. Like driving, it's not like all of a sudden you're not going to know what stop signs are. It'd be like driving on the wrong side of the street. In your work, whatever your work is, it's not like you're going to walk into work all of a sudden and be like a toddler and not know where anything is. Like, right, it's like that break in your psychology, in your mind, is, I think, so unique. And there's some unique aspects of trading, again, where it's like 100% of the responsibility is on you. So when you make a mistake, you cannot hide from that, and it reflects completely back onto you. And I think that it takes a certain kind of bravery and confidence building in ourselves to take that on in a good way. But when we're not ready, it's like the human psyche is just doesn't have the architecture to uphold that kind of reflection back, like that responsibility, that weight back to you. You're just like what? No, like this cannot be true. Like this does not make sense. Like I've proven I can trade. I've proven I can be disciplined. Like this just cannot be. And the mind has a really hard time grappling with that swing of being so good, so disciplined, to then like just trading like a complete idiot that doesn't know anything. This is back to like crypto days, right? And and so what I'm trying to say is that, but if you can see truly that, and I've begun to experience this actually probably in the last 6 months, and I share a lot with CZ. I don't know if she's on the call, but she's kind of my like go-to person. Like she's amazing at like trading psychology and stuff. But I've really begun to see in small ways that like some of these things that trading is exposing, guys, like I would have never imagined that those things would surface in my life, right? So something like being impulsive, like revenge trading and stuff. Like if you met me in real life, I'm one of those guys that's just like completely easygoing, never losing temper. I'm just kind of zen all the time. That's just how I grew up. Everybody knows me like that. And like I just basically have never lost my cool in real life, right? And then all of a sudden in trading, it's like I have these blackout moments where it's like, what? Like, what happened? Like, this cannot be happening. And but the thing is like that stuff that trading exposes, it's real and it's in there. It's in us. That potential's in us. And not to sound too corny or too cheesy, but like there was this one amazing quote from Mother Teresa where she was saying, one of the reasons why she dedicated herself so hard every day to help the homeless and to do good things was because she said, even as far as I've gone and trying to purify myself, I see the seeds of Hitler and the devil in me like every day. And therefore, I have to work that hard to make sure I always stay on the right path, right? So, what I'm trying to say is that, like, those things that training exposes, right? I used to see them as like kind of like a curse. Like, why am I facing this stuff through trading? Why can't I just make money? Why, like, there's these superficial people that are just making money and they're just trading ICT or whatever. And like what the hell? Why do I have to go through so much turmoil or so much growth, so much interpersonal, like just facing all this stuff in order just to make a few bucks? Like it doesn't seem fair. And, but if you can flip that and truly see that, like, okay, but if those things that are being exposed to me through trading, if those seeds are there, and clearly they are, because I don't think trading's putting anything in you, it's just pulling things out. It's triggering things that you haven't had to deal with ever in life because you weren't put in that position where you could make a lot of money and then now you're not making it because you just acted like an idiot, right? It's like we're not put in that position a lot of times in life. And so what I'm starting to see is like that would have happened eventually. And then in the last 6 months or so, like just in little ways in my life, like I started seeing like, holy cow, like I saw the precursors of like something I did in trading potentially starting to come up in like real life. And I'm like, whoa, okay. So in a certain sense, like that's what I'm saying, like trading is maybe one of the most ingenious inventions unintentionally that like we ever came up with, because if you tackle it the right way and if you are open to having it teach you, be a teacher of like your weaknesses, your blind spots, just things even just that you don't have experience dealing with, and if you can grow from that, that will objectively make you a much better human being in a way that like you might not even know how it might have saved you from a ton of trouble later on. Because what I see now is like any weakness that we have eventually, whether it's through kids, marriage, career, whatever, I think we're here on this earth to keep growing. And it's like, so therefore humans will always find a way to attract and gravitate towards the challenges that are going to push them forward in life, or they're going to reject those challenges and opportunities and they're going to go backwards in life, right? So once I started trying to approach that, and instead of being like, I'm cursed, like I'm cursed, like we have so much technical talent in this group, we have so much edge, and Rivology giving us like such a leg up, right? That it's like, yeah, it really felt like a curse. Like this just It's so maddening that like I haven't made like a shitload of like, no joking, I probably could have made in just like paper profits of like evals and PAs and stuff, right? Like probably close to like $1 million that just like vanished. Like I'm not even joking. So like that can break your psyche. And um so along with that, like what I wanted to add is, and that's kind of like more abstract and more high level, right? But I wanted to just share a little bit of like a tactical thing of like what I like to try to do, because I think it was maybe Mimo or somebody was mentioning like, okay, how do you prevent yourself from just like getting impatient and just taking trades for no good reason and that stuff, right? And I like sort of the input everybody gave. And then something else that when I'm really on and when I'm really like in my zone, that I just find myself doing, but I don't do it all the time, but it is helpful, is just like how Rivology tells us, like when you're in a trade, don't stop doing TA, right? And I know there's like a lot of different perspectives on that, because some people are like, well, presumably, before you were in the trade, you were clear of mind. So if you had a setup, just let it play out, man. Right. And then because otherwise you're going to fuck up your statistics and blah, blah, blah. And when you're in the trade and your heart's pumping through your neck, what are the chances you're going to make good decisions and all that stuff? Right. Um, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where because I'm a one trick pony in the PB2s, mostly bear divs, as you guys know. I aim for local lows. That's it. Like it's just that simple, right? And when we don't like do a flush down to local lows to test local structure, and we hang around for like 2, 3 1 minute candles and just kind of like hover around, the probabilities that my trade's going to play out go down massively in my journals, right? So this is what part of what I think he's saying about like keep doing TA. Like fuck, you see big trade, big buys coming through the tape or the dom, like dude, maybe like just don't stick around. If your play is that like you go with momentum and then you flush down, but that doesn't happen, like why stick around, right? Like just go to break even or take a tiny loss. But anyway, in that vein, a very like helpful tactical thing that I do in between trades that I really recommend you guys to try out is there's always something to actively learn from in the market, even when you're not trading. And even if it's documenting and journaling good no trades, like when I'm just naturally documenting good no trades and I see myself doing that, I know I'm in the zone. When I'm just naturally like, oh, you know what, I was super close to pulling a short there, but you know what, like I didn't. And in the moment it was more experience or it was more instinct. But then okay, then the play, like let's say I would have lost a trade or whatever, and I'm like, okay, like cool, let me just try to understand right now why was I right about that? Like why did I not pull that trade? And then I'll actually like journal that. And occasionally you guys see me post that on the channel, right? Where I'm like, okay, why did I pull that? Well, okay, we're actually starting to protect PBLs. So if you're shorting and you're protecting PBLs, like what the fuck? You're already one time framing up. Do you really want to like go against that already? Like you don't know how it's going to play out, right? So like things like that. So what I would recommend is like sometimes journaling good no trades can be a really good way to be active and kind of like be in the flow, so that you're not just like, because I know some people, I think even Rivology, he can like play video games and I don't know, maybe even watch movies and be passively watching the market. I'm not really good at that myself. I have to be like active, but not so much where like my fingers on the trigger like for 3 hours straight. Like if I do that, then I get exhausted, right? So I can't be like that on the edge of like pulling a trade because my setup's not there. But if I just like start watching a movie or something, then I just get way too like out of the zone, and I'm like my mind starts thinking too slowly and stuff. And so when I've tried to jump back in, I just take dumb trades. So for me, I've got to find this balance of being like passive, but be doing something, some active TA that is keeping me in the flow of the market. And so journaling good no trades, or even this in the same vein, if I happen to miss a trade because I thought I saw a red flag, but actually, you know what, like now that it's played out, I see that was like a prime setup. That was an A+ setup. So even in the moment of like journaling that, what that does is that I think it helps me inform likely what are the kind of trades that that day is going to bring about, right? Somebody was saying like on Friday, right? Like the EMAs were getting respected like crazy. Um, and so it's like if it's the kind of day where EMAs are getting respected and we're just trending in both ways, and the 24 is holding a lot and stuff like that, if you happen to like document that or even signal to yourself early on, chances are then you're going to pick up on like what kind of day it kind of is. And I'm talking a lot. So just the last point I'm going to make, which is kind of related to that too, is that I think I might have mentioned this a few times in the channel, but it's really important if you can to just remember seasonality is a really important thing, guys. Um, where, well, I mean, like, summer trading versus trading like last week, it's just completely different, right? So in the summer, I can remember in terms of like PB2, A plus setups, there was like a whole week where there might have been one trade per day. We were just, you guys know that we were moving like hardly anything. And it's like if you didn't catch that one really beautiful trade, it's like the rest of the day is gonna be probably like just shit trades, if that's what you're trading, right? We just weren't getting a lot of movement. Therefore, when you get less movement, there's less structure. There's less clean structure for you to test either way, right? To like local highs or local lows. You're just kind of like making these smaller moves. And then you're more susceptible to just natural like oscillations and these little mean reversions that just don't give it a lot of edge, right? But obviously, when we're making these like 1,000 or 100 tick 1 minute candle moves on NQ like last week, that's a lot of money. That's $500 in 1 minute candle, right? So if you like fly up, begin to test a tier one or whatever, and there's like plenty of clean air of structure to test towards the lows, it's like that you can be patient. And even if you only catch like 1/3 of you coming back down, that's still going to be like, $200, $300. Boom, there's your daily quota for the day, right? So seasonality is a big thing, and therefore, just really take note of like what kind of ATRs you're seeing. And again, last week, massive ATRs, right? That means that more than likely there's going to be more movement because it's really hard for when there's big ATRs, it's really hard for the market to just, just stay in the middle of nowhere for too long. It's going to try to gravitate to like a tier one or balance or all the different things that we use, right? So if I know that, like, I went back and journaled Friday, and there were like no less than probably seven, maybe even eight or nine A plus PB2 setups. If I'm only trading with like Delta and the EMAs on the 1 minute, with obviously the 5 and 30 backing you up and stuff, there were just tons of them. And each one of them probably bought you like 3 RR, minimum like $300 on one contract, maybe 400 or 500 in some cases. So super great RR, tiny invalidations. And if you just would have got maybe even two of those, you're just laughing, right? You're done for the day. Um, so so I guess what I'm just saying is take note of ATR, and so that because it's going to matter. Therefore, how you're going to attempt to keep your mind active and follow the market on days like last week is going to differ than like in the summer. In the summer, it's like if you only get two trades and that, then you've got to adjust what your expectations are for that day, and that can be really hard. Whereas, but at the same time, I know like this week, I mean, I was kind of rusty and getting back into things, right? So like I wasn't used to the speed of the movement and the fact that like when we were making some of these pivots, the invalidation was like quite large because of wicks or whatever, right? And so therefore I either have to recognize that and be like, oh wow, I'm not quite fast enough to trade this market right now. So cool, wait an hour and you guys know market will slow down a bit after the NY open. Cool, ATRs come down. That means the pivots get smaller, the validations are a bit smaller. And that's going to give me the confidence to then pull the trigger confidently and with the proper psychology and mindset to where I'm not going to just be scared by like these massive invalidations. And so yeah, I think those were kind of my notes. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions or
Sorry,
comments for that?
I just wanted to add to what Cryptic said there because he went like maybe a little deeper than I did with the psychology, in terms of faith and all that kind of stuff. And whether you're into like God or I'm not here to debate that. I'm quite religious. So I do believe there is a God or someone up there anyway. And I will say this to people who are struggling. There is no better feeling than winning a $50 trade that you followed your rules and didn't let your emotions get the better of you, than winning a 10K real money trade that you YOLO'd or leveraged. Like the pride is like the level of pride when you have a $50 day, but you followed all your rules and you are like the most disciplined trader in the world in that time. You did everything you were supposed to do. Like that is your I made it moment, not your 10K day, not your 50K day. It's the I picked out a level, I set my limit order, I put my stop loss, it was within my DLL, I put my take profit, I didn't get involved, I did everything A, B, C, D that I'm supposed to do. And like whether it worked out or not, obviously it's better when it works out. But the level of pride you get, it's the best feeling in the world. And this is someone from who's gotten big payouts and blah 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 blah. My best trades I've ever taken were like $50 trades. Like the level of pride I have is because I look at the Hue of like a year ago and I'm embarrassed by 20 NQ contract longs or whatever I did at the time and got lucky. Whereas now I'm like, no motherfucker can touch me. I am so disciplined. I stick to my rules, and you feel on top of the world. It's not about being right or wrong. You're like, no one can come near me. I know my setup. I'm gonna wait, even if it takes 3 days. And once you start winning, winning becomes so easy. You're like, oh, now I know what I need to do. Now I know what I look for. I don't need to go back to 20 contracts. I don't need to look at the charts and look for a trade. Like people are looking. Like how many people here log on at 9:30 and they're like, "Oh, this candle this da, 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 da." I don't even watch the first 30 minutes. I want the 30 minutes to settle. I want to see what's going on, and then at 20 past, 25 past, I sit down and I have a look. And I just for anyone who's struggling, I promise you, when you do how do I say this? When you I don't want to say master yourself. Yeah, when you control it and you are in control, there's no better feeling. The money will come. It will, even if it's $50. Like me and Rivalry can take the same. You and Rivalry can take the same trade. He can make like 15 grand off it, and you make 150. The only difference is contract size. It's not that he's holding it overnight and like got out at the bottom and got in at the top, and it's just contract size. Like these guys you see on Twitter, they're taking the same trades. They just have 5 times as much leverage. That's all it is. So I would just say from a deep personal, borderline religious, and sorry, one last thing the cryptic did say is like all the pain you're going through, and I know this is so cliche, but it's true. All the pain and misery you're going through is a test. It is from God or whoever above saying, how badly do you want this? I'm going to put you through shit because you need to go through this shit. I am so grateful for those 18 months, even though Jesus, it killed me. Like it broke me. Like it broke relationships with family members, partners, everything. Like it was horrible. But like it was the best thing to happen to me. But you don't realize it at the time because all that shit in my face made me go, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. Maybe I need to step away and go, I've done this for 18 months. Like Cryptic said, work, 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 and I'm not getting anything. And you self reflect and you make small changes like downsizing, zooming out on the chart, taking your time, less trades. And then you're like, oh, I've only taken 3 trades this week. Every single one of them were winners. Okay, but Hugh, you only made $50 per account. Yes. What's that going to be like in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? Then I'm going to be having 15K days, 20K days, whatever it is. So again, if you're not profitable, 30 days, one micro, risk $50, do it like Atomic Habit, and I guarantee you'll improve. And I guarantee you, none of you are going to be able to do 30 days. You'll probably fail at 15 or 12, blah, 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 blah. But then you just repeat again, repeat again, repeat again. Because right now, a lot of you are in the repeating of bad habits, not good habits. If you can do 30 days of good habits, I'm telling you, you're ahead of 95% of people in this game. It's not
There's a
sexy, it's not exciting.
there's a sorry, Lotta.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's a key theme that listening to you and Cryptic, and then the message that House is bringing that I'm really liking, and it's there needs to be for each of us our own thoughts of managing our expectations when it comes to trading. And a lot of us put our expectations incredibly high initially
Yeah.
because you can see what the fruit potentially is. And
Yeah.
so scaling that, and listening to your story and Cryptics, there's almost a dynamic scaling back that took place, right? Like there was a self reflection and a scaling back in your expectation of what this market's going to do for you initially in the short term in order for
Mhm.
you to get to where you wanted to go in the long term. I really
Mhm.
like that common theme that's there. And hopefully everybody else could hear that too.
There's no shortcut. Trust me. I've looked every angle, every there's just none, guys. Like it just doesn't exist. Like you're wasting your time with your I'm embarrassed thinking that I had 20 Apex accounts and was copy trading them when I wasn't even profitable. Like what was I thinking? Like, and it's natural. You want to make it. You've like
Mm.
Cryptic said, you've put in hours, years of work. I want my 20K payout. Where is my 20K payout? I deserve this. And again, it's super cliche. The market doesn't give a shit about you. Doesn't care about Rivalry, doesn't care about Mark, doesn't care about me, doesn't give a shit. And everyone says it, risk management, it's so boring. It's the reason I've had my XFAs for the last 5 months. It's nearly, touch wood, impossible for me to lose them because I can only lose so much in a day. But then you see people
Mm.
online who are like, yeah, I blew my account in one day. I'm like, how? Like I like you can like argue Top Step versus Apex, and like I don't love Top Step, but like they have a lot of features in there. Like they're not perfect, but like you should not be blowing accounts if you have an edge with Top Step. You can lock yourself out of like everything, like max
Mm.
contracts, max trades, time of day. Uh, like they really have it all. If I was the CEO, I wouldn't have that shit. I'd be like, nah, do what you want. Like Rivalry said, they're here to make money, and Rivalry made a really good point. You are all doing what they want you to do. They want you to YOLO. They want you to take a setup that's not yours. They want you to full port, and you're doing exactly what they don't want you to go slow. They don't want, you risking $50 times five account and making 250 a day. That's gonna bleed into them eventually. Imagine everyone did that where they
Mm.
risk $50 a day on their XFAs per account times five, 250. Multiply that by 1,000 people. That's not fun. You know what I mean? And then people scale up and scale up. You
Yeah.
know, so there's
Yeah,
no
it's true.
shortcut, boys and girls. There's just none. And take it from someone who's tried everything. It doesn't exist, unfortunately.
It looks like we're slowly getting people to drop off here. And I don't know if it's because our content's no longer entertaining or if people are getting on with what they're getting on with.
No, it was good, man. I loved hearing everything. I've
Yeah.
always loved
I
the
agree.
larder land, man. I always talk about you, man.
Appreciate it.
I always
Appreciate it. And
talk about
listen,
you.
like I should be in the group more. It's my own doing. I'm not in any other groups or whatever. But
Nah, dude.
that's a stubborn thing on my behalf. And
Yeah, it's not like
I
you're out gambling or something like that,
no,
I
no,
mean,
I'm just, yeah, I can be a bit stubborn and want to do it myself, but I am completely wrong in that. Like groups like this are so important, and I absolutely will be contributing more, because I'll just say this one last thing is, I do have empathy for people, and I don't know, I'm not going to name them, but I know the people who are in my spot from a few months ago. I know them. They don't need to tell me their P&L. I know exactly who's struggling. I know exactly who's tilting and doesn't know their strategy. And I have a lot of empathy because I've been there. Shit is rough. It's not fun. Like it's the only job in the world where you can put everything into it and get absolutely nothing in return.
That is absolutely true, man.
Yeah, it's literally, bro. Like I say this all the time. I'm like, if you work in sales and you call 1,000 people, eventually someone's gonna buy something off you, right? Like, eventually you'll make a sale. But like in trading, it's dude, you could take 1,000 trades and still be unprofitable. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, one thing I want to add, because I'm hearing a lot of different perspectives, and I'm kind of relating because a lot of the things I do subconsciously, right? And I kind of like it's one of those things that is just comes natural to me, and I don't recognize why until I'm hearing it from a different perspective. You know, like correct me if I'm wrong. Larderland likes to trade a lot of 30 minute. Like he doesn't even look at the five or the one. Okay.
No, never.
Yeah.
And I
So
used to. I used to
yes,
live on the five
absolutely.
minute.
And then that's something I've been screaming from the top of my lungs for a lot of you guys where, obviously this is not a shot to anyone. Okay. Please don't take that as a shot. Like when I see a lot of 1 minute charts, okay, which is amazing. Okay. I do recognize and agree to a lot of those setups. But if you're not aware of the higher time frame when you're pulling those setups, then to me, it's just luck. I don't care if you made money, right? So but on the flip side of that, I trade the 1 minute. I'm not gonna lie. I trade the 1 minute. I'm just very aware where the prior bars are in the 30, and you can look at my history and I say, hey, look to this, right? And why I trade that, right? It's because it's a twofold thing. One, right? I don't have the psychology nor the discipline to stop. Like I just can't trade just solely to 30. I recognize it, and I'm just like, you know what? Can't do it, right? I can't wait that long. I just love to trade. I love to scalp. How can I minimize the damage on something like that? Okay. How can I minimize the damage? So I've come up with a strategy to do that, and is the stop loss entry, right? That's why I always say, hey, I got stopped out like 80% of my trades. Because there's one thing that I hate more than losing an invalidated trade is that a winning trade turns into a losing one. I freaking hate it. Oh my gosh. You have no idea how much I see money, okay? And I'm like, it's like $500 NQ or even ES, whatever. And I'm like, this is amazing. You know what? I'm going to keep my invalidation. And then it literally goes back to entry and I get invalidated. That to me is just like, and knowing that I'm trading quote unquote what you guys like to call chop, right? It's not a 30-minute plan. I'm recognizing the 30, right? And I have the bias of the 30 on my side, hence 35-1, right? But it's still in the middle of a 5-minute invalidation that may be too wide for the 30. Okay. So I've placed kind of like what Laurent has done. He's placed parameters, okay, on himself because he can't do it. Neither can I. I cannot stop myself from trading a 1 minute chart. It's just
Literally,
impossible, right?
literally, it's impossible. I've tried everything. Like,
Yeah, it's impossible. Like
just
I
doesn't
look at it,
happen.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to trade this. Call it a curse of a prop firm
Yeah.
because I have a personal account and I have 2 live accounts and I don't copy trade them on my props. That should say something. Like I don't risk it
Yeah.
because those live accounts, like they give me like 2,500 1 to 2 micro. I'm like, that's nothing, right? So, and obviously you grow it over time, and then the scaling is almost unlimited to based on your balance, which is great. But even then, I have one live account with 15,000 in it, and they've given me 3 minis, right? I still won't copy trade it with my accounts. I just won't because I recognize sometimes that the way I trade those accounts are far more aggressive than alive, right? And call it a bad habit, and I'll even admit it to being one. But at least I recognize it to being a risk, and I can de-escalate that risk by adding quote unquote parameters. Because I couldn't really grasp it when I'm hearing everyone talking like, why is it that I trade the 1 minute? Even though I tell people 30. Well, I do. And then I'm like trying to validate it in my own mind while everyone's speaking. Well, I'm aware of the 30, blah, 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 things like that. And I'm trying to rationalize in my own mind, but let's just call it for what it is. I just don't have the discipline to stop. So what I can do, however, is protect myself to the best of my ability, right? Eric said it. It's probably that. Well, actually, you know what? It probably is that because I love to trade, guys. I freaking love it. Like, it's so addicting, okay? But, even recognizing, hey, I won't add my AMP, I won't add my ETF, and I won't add my top step. Why? Because I recognize that I can lose a lot of money really fast, and I don't like losing money I've already made that isn't sim, right? So I just want to put that out there. Like if a trader that is, not just myself, but anyone else that trades any real money account, okay? If you're not going to put it on the copy trading account on your sim, then you should already recognize that that's already like you're already oversizing, is what Larry was saying, right? So I just want to put that out there because I was actually trying to like think about that as everyone was speaking. It's like, why don't I do that? Because even myself, like, remember, I've been doing this for nearly 15 years, right? And I'm still learning, which I think is the most amazing thing. Okay. Never think that you guys have already gotten to a level where like, you know what, I'm done. Yes, you can get to a level where you're profitable. Yes, you can get to a level where you're consistent, but never always be a student of the game. You know, which is why I
Oh, I
always
have no
welcome
doubt
different
that my
things.
my next challenge is right around the corner. Like I don't think, oh, I got the holy grail now. I've made it. I'm profitable.
Yes.
I know there's shit coming around the corner, and especially like you probably know rivalry when you're like trying to level up when you're going to minis, and then and then you're going to live accounts, and then yeah, like you can be in this game of 50 years and you're still going to be learning. So there is no aha moment. It's just like learn from your mistakes and make sure they don't happen again. It's such a simple thing to say, but people just love being punched in the face and not doing anything about it.
Yeah, and then what? Honestly, I've gotten to a point where it's like almost survival, right? Every day's survival. That's what I look at it as. It's not like I'm
100%.
my
Yeah.
account. I look at my account and I'm like, we need to survive today.
Yeah.
Instead of
That's a
making
yeah,
us,
man. That
yeah,
that guy Jack Swagger who wrote the what's the book again? The big one where he interviews all the big um it's like the most famous book ever. Not Trading in the Zone, but the one where he
Market.
interviewed.
market
Yeah, sorry,
wizards.
yeah, Market Wizard. Yeah, he. I've seen him on a few podcasts, and so they're like, so what's the number one thing you have interviewed all these traders, the billionaires, the whatever, and he's like, what's the number one thing? And he's like, it's super fucking boring, but it's survival. It's risk management. Yes, they'll put their foot to the gas when it's going their way. They'll add contracts, etc., etc. But the number one reason is like what Rival says: how do I live to see another day? You can't, I don't care if you're the best trader in the world. If you can't live to survive, you're not going to make it. All it takes is one Donald Trump tweet, one big seller, one buyer, whatever. And Rivalry's so right. Like you just go slow, slow, scale, scale, and then someday you'll find yourself being that dude who's limiting in with 15 minis, and you're like, how the fuck did I get here? And you're like, because I survived that day, and then I survived the next day, and then the next. And it's like Rivalry said, like, and again, I touch all the wood, but I feel like it's nearly impossible for me to lose my live accounts because I risk so little. Like I would have to have 25, 30 losing days in a row. Of course it could happen, but it's very improbable.
Yeah.
Whereas some people in this group and other people are literally living on a lifeline every day. And you know who you are. You're like, all right, if this trade doesn't go my way, we're doing a reset. You know what I mean? Or we are
You,
on
you,
the
you
edge
spit too
here.
many
Like,
facts, man. You might hurt some people.
yeah, but it's the truth. And like,
Yes,
listen,
yes, it is.
I was, people said this to me and I didn't listen, dude. You know what I mean? So people aren't going to listen. If I'm being very honest, I don't want to be mean. I would say 99% of people aren't going to listen. They're going to log in Monday, do the same shit. And like I said at the very start, until you get kicked in the balls 1,000 times and you go, you know what? I'm fucking sick of getting kicked in the balls. I'm changing something. That's when it's like an alcoholic. They ask an alcoholic, when did you stop becoming alcoholic? And they were just like, dude, I just couldn't fucking take it anymore. Like, it wasn't, I woke up on a Sunday and read a book. Like, people asking about books. It's great to read, but book ain't gonna do it, bro. You know what I mean? Like I said, alcoholic wake up one day and he'll just go, "Fuck this! I'm someone who struggled with. I used to smoke a lot of weed, and I tried to quit like 1,000 times. And like, I mean, I really wanted to quit, and I just couldn't. And people used to say to me, they're like, "How did you quit?" And I was like, "I don't know, bro. I just woke up one day and I was like, fuck this. I am not doing it anymore. Like, I don't give a fuck." And it was a random day. It wasn't a book. It wasn't a therapist. It wasn't a podcast. I just woke up and I was like, fuck this shit. I am so done. And you just never really look back. Like I dabble every once in a while, but like if I'm out or whatever, but I'll never go back to that shit. Like the days of every day and oh, I couldn't think of anything worse. You just get to a stage and it's the same in trading where you just go, fuck the YOLOs. Like if someone said to me I'd be trading one micro ES a few months ago, I'd be laughing at them. Like one micro ES, you know how much you're gonna make on a good move? Like $40 maybe. But you just get sick of it. You just get sick of it. And there's no book that is gonna, you know, make you sick of it. So a lot of people who still have these issues just haven't got there yet. You haven't got to the I can't fucking do this anymore. This is breaking my heart stage. Because I've been there, and once you get to that stage, you're like, fuck
The
this.
majority will, but here's the key: you don't want to. Okay, you don't want to strive to get to that point because sometimes that
Do you
and
not think
it's
that's the
sad.
only point of turning around though,
Yeah,
rivalry?
that's the saddest point. The saddest point is,
Yeah.
the reality is some won't come back, right? They will quit.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, that's a super important thing. Yes.
And I don't
Actually, the
want
most
that for
important
anyone
thing is,
because I truly believe,
yeah,
okay, I truly believe it. And I said this AMA 1, okay? I truly believe everyone has the ability to do this, okay? As long as you don't quit, right? But how you're going to get there, okay? Like to that point, that apex turn, like the U-turn, it's all up to you how hard you want to make it, right? And
yeah,
unfortunately, okay, you got to give your guys some grace because some will make it harder than others. Like meaning like you took too many delays, you took too many stops. You did too many unnecessary things to the point where it's turning into regret. You're looking back and like I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. Hindsight is great once you're in the winning side. Okay, but once you're about to turn, don't look into that because that's where that turns into almost like a depression, self-worth
yeah,
worthless talk,
yeah,
and it's just interesting because this was actually in my I want to add this point because this is super important because it was all about negative talk like what Housemaster was talking about. I think I might have shared this on an AMA. I don't remember, but during my graduate studies, right? Because my graduate degree is in counseling. I do a lot of it's marriage family therapy, but it's specializing with kids, right? And there's a section in there where my professor started like he said, "Hey, apologize ahead of time because I'm gonna curse at you." So I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna get super violent right now, guys. So let's just say I'm gonna talk to Mark. Okay, Mark, you're fucking worthless. You're never gonna make it. Why are you even here? Why do you even teach? Like hearing that, like
Oh,
it's terrible, right? Just even like you guys heard it right now,
oh.
you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said it. I guarantee some of you guys are like, mouth is open, right? And then, but at the same time, he's like, Mark, you're amazing. Thank you for teaching the group. Thank you for taking the mantle. I love what you've done to the community. You've really taken on the mantle of what I was trying to build the culture here, right? Like listening to that, right? If you just heard that, you're like, oh wow, that really pumped me up. Now imagine that. Like we all take the society teaches us, right? Like, oh yeah, we can jest, we can joke. But in reality, that doesn't really help. Like it doesn't. It really brings you down even more. So really take that opportunity to try to, limit that. And I don't want to ban it because this is not a freaking dictatorship, right? Even though Austin's ready to ban everyone every single day and he's given full authority to do so. But at the same time, right, recognize that that's really bad, right? Like you don't want to say that to yourself because everyone here that is listening is amazing, right? And no matter what stage you are, I truly believe it with my whole heart. I really do, and I know you will make it. It's just because everyone here, okay, and Lardenland knows it, Mark knows it, Housemaster knows it. Killer King, who I don't know if he's here because I can't see the audience. He's also one of the G's of the group. These guys, okay, they know what it was like to freaking suffer. So we have like I have
yeah.
empathy as well to like I
Oh,
know
stop.
exactly what you're going through. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it sucks. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, okay?
And rivalry said it so well there, and it's sometimes I can be a bit too intense, like too intense. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, fuck it. But and I know everyone loves when I say fuck, by the way. But I see the comments, but he's so right. You just can't quit, and you do have to be kind. You're like, okay, I've blown $20,000 in combines, whatever it is. Okay, great. That was my learning expense. And like you have to take solace in that 99% of people don't get this far. I see people that I've known since day one who are still here. Now I haven't kept up as much and blah blah blah, but you're still here, right? 99% of people quit like a bitch, right? Or not like quit like a bitch, but they just quit. And I know a few of you have DM'd me, have personal stuff going on with family, and like I'm very lucky. I don't have that stuff. I don't know if I could juggle a family and do all this at the same time. Like, give yourself a pat in the back, that you're still here turning up. I know you don't see the progress. This is the most important thing I'll say is I know there's nothing to physically show you the progress right now. There's no chart, P&L, but the turning up, the studying, every day you try and stick to your rules, even if you fail, it's just, and again, I know it's so corny, but it's just one step closer. And then one day you'll take a trade make $50 of it, and you're like, dude, I just executed that like a fucking pro. Like, there's no hedge fund who could have done that trade better than me. Like, I knew exactly what was happening. I read the market inside out. These were trapped longs, blah blah blah, boom boom boom, etc. etc. And you're just like, oh, I can do this. Like, I can do this. And it's just about not quitting. Because, like, the pain is, like Rivalry says, it is. I'm the biggest believer you can do anything in life. Whenever I'm at a poker table and people ask me what I do, I say, I'm a trader. Don't ever do it. And it's not that I'm negative about it. It's just I know how hard it is. It's not that I don't think anyone can do it. I think anybody can do this. But the pain you have to go through is like nothing I've experienced. It's not comparable to poker. Poker is 100 times easier. It's definitely hard, but 100 times easier. Um, and just never ever quit. Like, just don't, because you will regret it. And there are many times where I was on the brink of quitting. Like, I mean, took one person to say something to me just for me not to quit. Like, my family didn't believe in it. My mom, dad, sister did not believe in this shit. So they were just ready to say, you know what, told you. And I was very lucky. I had one or two people in my life that were just like, don't quit, don't quit. And I also couldn't quit. I kind of put myself in a situation where I couldn't. Just don't quit is all I'm going to say. It may not happen tomorrow. You're not going to have 20 Apex accounts and be making 15K days tomorrow. But, and I'm being very honest with you, as someone who's now getting bigger payouts, the best payouts are the smallest ones. Honestly, because that's where the growth is. That's where you're like, dude, I am doing this. When you start making, like, 10K in a day, yeah, it's great and all and happy days, but like, dude, that $50 trade I talked about was the best trade of my life. I'll probably never make a better trade ever, even if it's for 1 million, because it was the first day where it's like, dude, I just beat myself. Like, I own me. Nobody owns me, right? So just keep trying. Do not quit. You have no excuses to fail. Um,
And
and
you
yeah,
know
just
you sorry, and you know you made it correctly, right? Because if you
exactly. Yes,
yeah,
you didn't full port 20 contracts. And there's just no better feeling. Honestly, I'm telling you right now, there will never be a better trade than that $50 trade I took that day, because it was the first step. It's like taking your first step as a child, right? It's like you're like, holy shit. But now you walk around every day taking your legs for granted. But you see a baby's face when they make their first step. It's like, holy shit.
I'm smiling because full porting 20 contracts feels pretty crazy too. So and
Oh,
yeah,
we've
just
all
trying.
been there. It's the best. Like, I have no regrets. It's the best. But like, for long term, like, there's nothing better than
Our,
being like, fuck this, 20
yeah,
contracts at Q, and your P&L is like changing from 4,000 to like minus 1,000 in the space of like 10 ticks. Like.
yeah. No, for sure. I think there's so many great takeaways from today, right? And just the conversation and listening to everybody is in there. Like, from a categorical perspective, like we're talking managing your expectations, right? That's not only the expectations of yourself, but how you're choosing to engage the market. And I think one of the other key things that I took away from like the prior end of the conversation really is about you can't change the market, but what you can change is the way you're choosing to engage with the market. Sometimes that means you have to change something. Sometimes that means you don't have to change something. It just wasn't your day. And I think the level of maturity that it takes to do that and really self-reflect enough to know to go, do I need to change the way I'm behaving and engaging with the market because of my performance today? Or do I need to come back and just do the same thing again today and then do the same thing again? And to objectively be able to pull that out and not only reflect on myself and my behavior, but how my stats are showing me the fruit of my behaviors and my choices and way of engaging with the market is absolutely key. So I think those are some amazing takeaways for me, for sure.
But yeah, I just want to thank you guys like publicly. I was typing it. I didn't know how long you're gonna take, Mark. But yeah, Housemaster, this was an amazing presentation. I no, like truly, like I didn't think it was gonna be this detailed because like when you and I were messaging like 2 weeks ago, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring some amazing stuff," and I was like, "Yeah." I'll be honest with you. I was like, "Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I'm excited."
yeah,
But then
I would
I listened. I was like, "Dude, I'm actually gonna adopt some of these the phases that you have because
yeah.
it's almost like a I mean, the way I would relate is almost like a force matrix for anyone that's ever served. You know, like you have a force matrix you
Yeah.
follow in terms of escalation of force. So I'm like
Yeah.
looking at
Yeah.
that. I'm like, okay, what phase am I on this
It's
trade?
exactly what I was thinking
You know?
too. I was like, no way.
Yeah, and I was looking at that's exactly how I thought of it. Like the moment I looked at this, and I was like, wait a second, I'm feeling like everything here every single time when I trade
Yeah, I
is one
know.
of them or a combination of one or two. You know, and that's why I made that funny statement. I was like, sometimes like before, not anymore. Thank God. Okay. I would actually slap myself on the face or even just walk away the rest of the day if I ever did one from 1 to 10, jumping all these phases, right? But
Mhm.
you know, I love how there is something that you can reference to because you know something that Cryptic really said that stood out is sometimes he doesn't understand it, and I think that goes for a lot of people that are engaging in that journey, right? And I know Cryptic is a very well seasoned trader, but he may, you know, I'm not sure exactly where he's at, but he may be in a position where he's not there psychologically yet in terms of how he's managing how to handle his current emotions. Right? I can safely say with confidence I know how to fully manage them, but in reality, it's not me managing them. It's me knowing the safety things that are in place in order for me to not have to do it myself. Because I know if I am in charge of doing it, I will fail. And I know like there was a little bit of religious talk here, so I'm gonna bring one up because you guys know my faith, okay? And this is like just a sidebar, and I want you guys to take the gold from this, okay? There's a story of this young man who's in the eyes of God was very very holy and you know did all the things right, right? And he was put in a position to be tempted by another person's wife, okay? And he didn't resist, he ran, okay? And that really spoke to me. Basically, it says if somebody is at that level, right, to where he's like one with God, walking with God, speaking to God, but he knows like as a woman, she's hot and she's tempting me. I'm not gonna resist and say, no, I can't, I won't do it. I'm too good. No, he ran. Okay. So my takeaway from that is that you know when you're in a position where you're trying to manage your emotions you're already in my opinion already starting to get to a level where you may fail. You're setting yourself up for
Yeah.
failure, which is why I agree with
Yeah.
Larderland. I think what he's doing is spot on and it works for him perfectly, right? And I believe everybody should strive to that level to where you don't want to have to manage it. I think you have to recognize it first where your weaknesses are and things like that, kind of like what Housemaster said. Have those parameters, safety guards, and everything that you need, right? Like for instance, my safety guards, like one of those rules, and I don't always apply it. I admitted it here. Like when I fight with my wife, I should not trade. It's a quote unquote mental safety guard. But was there something set in stone to do that? Is there a note on my computer? No. I say it to myself. Sometimes I don't follow it. So I've just failed that, right? So that's a perfect example of me not running, me trying to fight the temptation, right? So like Larderland cannot physically trade even if he wanted to because there's a lock. Like so it doesn't matter how disciplined he is, how amazing he handles his emotions, he cannot physically trade that account because there's a safety guard in place. So I think that's super important to recognize as everyone for everyone here, right? Like he said it perfectly. I don't care how stoic you are, I don't care how disciplined you are. We're wired, and I don't think that he meant that in a negative way. I think it's
No, no.
recognizing
It's
at
just
its core
yeah.
that it's very difficult to manage it. Okay.
365 days a year, you're telling me you're not going to be able to like it just all it takes is one day, you
Yes,
know,
I
like
agree.
one day to blow everything up.
One
And
hundred
listen,
percent
you
agree.
might be amazing 250 days of the year, and then one day the wife looks at you the wrong way, or your daughter says this or whatever, and then boom, it's all gone. I'll leave it at this. I'll say one last thing because I want people to really understand the struggles, and I'll open up a bit here. It's a bit embarrassing, but one of my safety nets, you know, the computer turns off every minute or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Really annoying to turn on a computer, by the way, people. Takes a solid 6.5 minutes for everything to load. But one of the, again, staples is every time I have to log into my computer, I have to put in a password. And the password that I put in, obviously, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's extremely personal to me. It's like, to like put a summary on it, it's like no one believed in you. You were bullied as a kid. Everyone thought you were crazy to do this. Is what you're about to do gonna prove them right. Basically, that's not the exact password,
Yeah.
but it's that like team, and
It's
it's
an
long.
affirmation. It
And
really
I'll be
what it
very
is.
honest, when I type it in, I sometimes get emotional because it makes me stop for a second and go, are you gonna let that ex-girlfriend or that partner or parent who didn't believe in you win? And it's the 4 seconds that gives me to stop. And it just, because how many people, I think either Cryptic said it or Housemaster said it. It's like people, you ever hear when someone murders their wife? I know this is very intense, but they murder their wife and they're like, I don't know what happened. I just blacked out. I actually kind of get it now when it comes to trade. You black out, not to justify murdering people, but they sit there and they go, I just blacked out. I have no idea. I'm the calmest person ever, like Cryptic. He doesn't have to tell me he's the calmest person. I spoke to the guy many times. I know he's a gentle soul. And if people like him are losing his shit, then like we're all screwed, right? So yeah, you have to do as much as possible to stop yourself and have as many rules in place because it's too hard. And the moment I realized it was when I was around people who were disciplined like Rivalry and other people in this group, and they're like, bro, I work out 7 days a week. All I do is listen to Goggins. I haven't had a takeout in 3 years. I sleep 1 hour a day because I'm working so hard, and they still can't keep their shit together. So I'm like, if they can't do it and I can't do it, something's going wrong here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
That really that reminds me of David Goggins. I don't know if people are familiar with him, like that ex-Navy SEAL guy who just loves to run. Like the dude,
Yeah.
he'll run in the rain, he'll run everywhere. And one of his motivational tactics is that if he's running in a neighborhood and like there's no one else out running, right? Like everyone else would be insane doing it. He's like running
Mm.
past each house and he's like, in my head, I'm going, I got you. I got that guy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
just
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
inside watching TV. I got that guy. And I kind of laugh like listening to the way you deal with your psychology. Cause I must
It's
admit,
insane.
like
It's
hand up, I'll think
insane.
the same thing when I'm scalping on the 1 minute. Like if I pull
Yeah.
like $100, $50, $70, like $200, I'm like, I got that guy. I got that guy's scalp. I got that guy.
Literally,
Like
literally.
it's
And
pretty
the
funny.
worst is when you give into it and you're like, you know what, that ex was right, your parents were right, and that shit hurts, you know. And again, you don't want to beat yourself up about it,
No,
but
you don't want to do that.
you don't want to beat yourself up, but like you are letting other people win, and it's another thing like that people don't think about is like how much self respect do you have for yourself? If you have self
Mm,
respect for yourself, like are you really gonna keep doing this shit? And again, it's fine to make these mistakes. We've all done it, but at some stage you have to look in the mirror and go, Hugh, do you not like? I don't want to say love yourself. It's a bit corny, but like, do you not have self respect that you can't stick to your shit?
mm.
You won't put these things in place. Like there's so many tricks. Like go onto a task schedule on your computer. You can set it up to close every minute or every half hour. It like I have an alarm 8:30 every morning. Set up your task schedule. 2 minutes past the open, thing shuts down. 2 minutes past the 30-minute open, thing shuts down. You're either in the trade or you're not. And it's a pain to start up your computer again, type in the world's longest password, load up Quantower, trading view. I've timed it. It takes like 7 minutes. And like if you can't stop yourself in 7 minutes, then you've
Dude, I
got
think you need a
serious
new
issues.
processor or something. Like why is it
Yeah,
taking you 7 minutes?
yeah, I
Like,
don't know, but listen, the longer it takes, the better, because then it just gives me, because all of our mistakes are split seconds. You know, your full port
mm,
20 contracts is 1 second. It's not like, oh, I thought about it for a half an hour and I still think it's a good idea to port 20, right?
yeah.
Normally you've
Yeah,
calmed down.
nobody
Like,
thinks about a 30-minute full port, bro.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no one sits there go, you know what? I thought about it. The 20 NQ long at the previous day high. I think it's gonna work with a drawdown of $200. I think it's a great idea. But
You
in the
know,
one
we joke
second,
about it. It's true. We joke about it, but man, I'm telling you, I'm full porting. Once that weekly to 100 EMA is touched again, man, that's a full port. I'm buying some S&P and some NAS. It's happening.
so like Rivalry said, you just have to figure out a way for you to stop. You don't have to turn your computer off. You don't have to buy an Xbox. You know, do something. Read, pack, clean the house. I don't know. Like just figure it out. I look for jobs. I'm like, what can I do this morning? Like just to not look at the charts. I just don't want to see it. And sometimes I do miss moves. Like the 30-minute is like Rival said, it especially when moves go, like they go. But you just have to adjust. And that's I have like certain criteria that like cool. I can't get in on A or B. I'll get in a C or D, but I'm not holding it all day. I'm gonna do a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-1.5 because I can't get in A or B. I want to get into A and B for the big move, but if it's something like when moves go, they fucking go. That's what I've learned in trading. I think Lance Brightstein said that is like, if your move is taking a long time, probably not a good sign. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like when it goes, it goes.
Yes. Kind of like it's in same sense. I know some of the low time frame scalpers here. What I've always said to them is like when I'm in a momentum based trade and it's not giving me the momentum that I'm expecting, I'm just getting out because it's supposed to give me that trade, right? That reaction that I'm expecting has to have that follow through, and if it doesn't, I'm not gonna wait for it to either invalidate me or say, well, I'm right. No, if it's time based momentum based on EMA continuation on low time frame, right? Where because what happens, right? You normally get a breakout or breakdown on the 30, creating an imbalance, and then there's nodes that are built on top of the value area high or value area low of the previous day, right? So if those nodes are being built and defended, right, then likely you will see the reactions on the 8 or the 24 on the 1 minute. Now, if I'm going to trade that and say to myself, all right, I'm going to trade low time frame, guys. Remember, that's the key, low time frame. And then you get a nice little reaction on the 8 for continuation, and you're expecting the local low to be taken out. And I'm entered, and we're on a 1 minute. You get a 1 minute gravestone on the 8. And then that next candle on the 1 minute, which is the second minute, okay, cannot break. I don't care if it's the longest gravestone in the world, but it cannot break that prior bar 1 minute. And it's been like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and it's just literally hovering there. I'm out. I'm out because it's just not worth it for me because it should be getting that reaction. It should be. And does it happen to where I get out and I self-invalidate and possibly a small loss and this thing starts dropping? Yes. But you have to consider the fact that, you know, you have de-escalated that risk to where this thing can fly to the 24 and then you are completely invalidated on $1,000 because because we haven't learned Lauderland's first lesson is downsize, right? So I recognize that, right? Because I still trade minis, right? And the only time I trade micros is if I'm flipping on MFFU, right? Which is amazing, by the way. You should get that prop, by the way. It's freaking awesome. But anyway, just wanted to add that. But
The funny part is,
yeah,
as everyone wants to do minis, and I've been there. The ironic thing is, you actually fall in love with micros. You're like, I'm so calm. I can let this trade play out. All's good in the world.
yeah,
Like you actually like I'm now like I actually like one thing I'll probably struggle with going forward is now I need to get back into the sizing up. I'm in that stage where I now need to put like my big boy pants on and go, okay, this is your like A plus plus setup. We should be putting big size on. You actually start enjoying it. You're like, oh, trading's so peaceful. You know, like I'm in this trade 2 hours sometimes. It takes a while to play out, and you're just like, bro, it's one micro. No one's gonna die. I'm gonna trade tomorrow. I'm gonna trade the next day, and it's ironic. You go from seeing these NQs and wanting to take NQs to being like, you know what, dude, micros is the shit, and I'm gonna stay here as long as I can, and then you do eventually go up, but it's all just a number. Like if you are
yeah.
risking if you have 10 NQs, but it's 1% of your portfolio, it's still 1%.
Yes.
So when you look at the percent, you're like, dude, micro, mini, I don't give a shit. Like it's 1%. I need to lose 100 times to fail.
I think they're
Like,
getting to the nano pretty soon, which is
I heard,
that's
yeah. And again,
crazy, bro.
I would implore anybody who's not profitable to just buy one 50K combine and just one micro and ES and just play around. Just test your shit
On
and
the
just
30,
do it for
by the
30
way.
days. Yeah, on the 30. Yeah, on the 30. And I said one last time saying last thing. Rivalry said something that was very smart. He goes, "You're on the 5 minute and you're on the 1 minute, and like you get lucky." And I didn't really realize how lucky I was getting because I used to be a huge knife catcher. I was like, I'm big into sweeps. I'm big into key levels, and I would like get these big moves on the 5 minute, but it was only like 1 in 10. The rest of them were all like losses, you know. And I was just getting lucky, and I had no idea about context. I wasn't like zooming out. I was just getting kind of lucky. Like I had a strategy and I knew what I saw, but it was 80% luck, 20% strategy. But I would say now, like when I take a trade, none of it's luck. It's all like, okay, sometimes I lose, obviously. None of it's luck. It's, dude, we're doing this on the daily. We're now doing this on the 30. There's a gap below. There's trap traders. There's, we're getting in at the value area high. We want the 30-minute respected. And if it's not respected, then like we're out. Like I used to have this thing where I'd be like, oh, I'll give like 10 ticks space over the 30. I'm like, why are you giving 10 ticks over the 30? It's either it gets respected or it doesn't. Like the lows or highs are either respected. Stop giving yourself wiggle room. Sometimes it does grab liquidity and it's annoying, but it shouldn't. If it's
Because I
respecting the
don't want to
30,
lose.
yeah, and you don't want to lose. You're like, yeah, give yourself. Imagine doing that all the time. 10 ticks on NQ. That's $50 on a mini each time, and you're getting stopped out like all the time. So I think trading comes so much easier when you actually have an idea of what you're doing. Like when you literally are like, that's why Rivalry is like, why are you all looking at the 5? What the hell is the 30 doing? And like you see it, you're like, oh, we've been downtrending on the 30. We just swing failured on the 30 and closed above the previous one. Now I can start looking at a reversal, or even you can downsize. Like I used to like another thing that a lot of traders who are very experienced talk about is like they'll take little bites. That's how I got to micros. I was like, I feel like I know my edge, but I'm going like full DLL off this 5 minute swing failure pattern. Like, and I'm risking it all on one trade. Okay, so listen, you don't want to wait for a 30-minute close. Totally fine. I get it. It takes time. And sometimes you will miss the move. Just risk $40. Do a little tester. If your DLL is 400, do a little tester for $40. And if a 5 minute high is broken, okay, add another 40. That's $80. Wait for the 30-minute. That's what I do. So I've gone to a stage now where I just wait for the 30. But at the start, I did do like, okay, I'll put in $20 on the 5 minute close. Okay, another $20 because it looks like now we've had 2 closes. And then you can wait for the 30. So you just don't have to full port on the first sign. And that's what people do. They see, oh my God, the vertical distribution, 5 minute low has been broken, full DLL, and it just keeps going up for the rest of the day. You're like, what the fuck? Like I
If
will
you're
never
trading,
short a
Larder,
vertical. Yeah,
if you're trading, right?
yeah.
Is there at any point in your day or a setup where you're all in, right? We're playing poker, whatever it is, and like you see it and you go, right, I'm all in. That we
Yeah.
bounce back and forth, raise, check, raise, whatever it is, I'm all in.
So poker is like
Do you
obviously
do
a little
that
bit more.
anymore?
So yeah, so poker's a little bit different. I don't need to get into that, but with trading, yeah, if I have a move that happens during A or B, I should be going all in because my stats tell me that the biggest moves of the day come from A and B. A obviously is where the big money's at. It's obviously the first candle to happen, so it has more of a chance. C and D are very rarely reversal candles. You'll never, I shouldn't say never,
Hmm.
but you'll rarely see C or D being the move reversal of the day. It's very uncommon. It does
Hmm.
happen, but based on my stats, I think it's like 65% A is the move of the day,
Hmm.
25% is B, and then the rest is C, D, and E. I do love the afternoon reversal. That's something I learned from Charles, and I'm sure Rivalry
Yeah,
knows it.
yeah.
The
Afternoon
afternoon
Hmm.
breakouts are
reversal
amazing.
is fucking money. Yeah, like if I get into a trade, say the A of close, I just keep trailing the 30-minute lows, right? But when it gets to like lunchtime, my trailing becomes way more aggressive. It's either
Yep,
the
it's a
last
lunchtime
30-minute
Hmm.
pivot.
low,
Hmm.
assuming I'm in a long, or the last 5 minute swing failure pattern. So whichever happens first, because those reversals in the afternoon are, again, I don't really have stats on them, but they're just fucking money. Like it's
Yeah,
like
it's just
the
like it's people that are trading intraday just getting out in profit.
dude, that's all it is. I was just about to
Yeah.
say that. It's
Yeah.
like hedge funds. Like I think Rivalry used to say this, or maybe it was Charles. He's like, yeah, you know why it's reversing? The dude at the hedge fund just went to fucking Subway to get his lunch.
Yeah,
That's literally it,
It's
bro. He pressed the
it's
off
true.
button on the algo. It's not because it's a key level. It's because it's some dude is like, yeah, we've got it. And one thing I will say is like, you'll see especially on the vertical distribution days, if the afternoon reversal hasn't happened during lunch or the first half hour after lunch, then the big
Hmm.
boys are staying. They're like, oh,
yes.
this is going up all day.
Yep.
Because I've been that guy who's like, afternoon reversal's happening, shorting it, and I'm like, oh, it's not happening at all today. Like, this will go on to the
Yeah.
M session, and that's it. You know what I mean? So
You
yeah,
said
it's
something
just
pretty key though. You said you know that you should be doing something, but it sounds like you're not. And we were talking about like your A plus plus setup, right? And like when do you ever like I'm all in with it? And you kind of alluded to the idea that you know you should be now based on your stats and your trading style
yeah,
and everything
yeah,
else, but you're not
yeah.
doing it. So what stops you from doing that?
So I would say that the number one thing that stops me is probably trust. I have only like recently really felt like I've grasped trading. Like I don't want to say like I know it. Obviously I don't, but like I really understand the market now and I know what I'm looking for. And I think the biggest thing for me is that I am just comfortable risking what I'm comfortable with. And it's a
Mhm.
definitely a psychological barrier for me. I just don't like going all in on one of them. I like to have two bullets in a day. And eventually I know it's a conversation I'm going to have with myself eventually that I'm going to
Mhm.
have to put my big boy pants on. But I am getting a lot better at it. Like I'll put maybe 75% or like 65%. I'm not doing like the 50 anymore. And it's just trust. I think that's the problem most people have. It's not that they're scared. It's just they just don't trust it. They're just like, can I
Mm.
really trust that this is going to work? And also, they're afraid of losing. I am afraid that this won't work, even though I know 8 times out of 10, it will work. And another thing is just repetition. I haven't had long enough to be doing this where like I feel like in my first 18 months I knew so much about technical analysis, but I didn't know anything about what my concept was. So now I'm just getting used to what I look for. Now I can read the
Mm.
market. I'm like, bro, I know exactly what is happening right now. Like, that triangle on Thursday, so fucking obvious what was happening. Like etc. etc. I just stayed in that short all day long. I was like 4 hours just sitting there, and it eventually dumped. So it's just, I think for me, it's just actually more just getting comfortable where I now know that I could, like I said earlier, I could say my strategy backwards. Whereas like 2 months ago,
Mm.
I'd say I had like 70% of it down. Whereas now there's no if, buts, or maybes. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And yeah, if Monday comes around and I get the move I'm looking for, I will be putting on full size.
What I want to add to this is maybe a tip for everyone. Definitely make like a checklist of your setup.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
And
your
that's
monthly.
another reason as well. Sometimes, like when I say full size, I mean like 8 things need to be ticked off. Like I don't just look for random swing failure patterns. Like I look for like I what I do is I take the fib from the bottom to the highest. So what I did is, I know it's funny because Rivalry used to joke about swing failure patterns, but if you zoom out, and he's right, but if you zoom out and look at any of the big moves on a daily basis, like 90% of them come from liquidity sweep. It's very obvious, right? The big boys need liquidity. So I'm like, cool, this is where I want to get in. But so I was like, okay, I can't just be getting into random swing failure patterns. Like that's just not going to work, So I looked at like what are the commonalities of the swing failure patterns. I like to see the trap traders. On Quant Tower, it's what's it on Addis? Those boxes that you guys have, the red, the
Big
red trap.
trades.
Yeah, big trade. Sorry, yeah, it's different on Quanter. I need to see that if I'm going long. I need the fib from top to bottom needs to be 70%. The close needs to be above 70%. That does not happen a lot. That suggests that there's a huge
Come in.
reaction, like 70% from top to bottom of the fib. That's a big
In a minute
drawback.
when I'm finished with this,
It
and I'll
needs
talk
to
to your
be
mom.
during A and B. I don't ever
Yeah,
do it on
but it's up
C.
to me.
Don't
So
ever
let me
do it
talk to
on
your mom.
D. What else? I need to get in at like a good price. I'm not getting in at the top. I'm going to get in somewhere between the point of control and the value area low of that 30-minute volume profile. Again, doesn't come back all the time. And it also has to kind of be my bias as well. If we're downtrending, I'd like it to be a short. If we're uptrending, I'd like it to be a long. So it's a bit of everything of why I don't do it too often, but it's a huge, there's a big checklist. It does happen though. And like, okay, I'll give you a very good example. On Thursday, both setups happened. A did a big swing failure pattern, 70%, and B did his big swing failure pattern. And I was like sitting there, I'm like, I don't fucking know what to do. Both of them did it. But I chose B because I liked the B reversal and there was a gap to the downside. But I didn't put on full size because I'm like, you're kind of going against your strategy. There's two massive swing failure patterns here at key levels. You know, I think you're just gambling if you go full DLL, right? So I just put on half the size and it ended up working out. But yeah, it requires a lot of boxes to be ticked to go full port.
Mhm.
Because all it takes is like you could have the best
Makes
setup in the
sense.
world. All it takes is one dude to be like, yeah, I'm selling here, and my stats go out the window, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that's probably like the final boss when it comes to trading. If your man Lance Breitstein says it a lot. He's like, if you can get there and where you just see your setup and you go full blown, like not gambling, but you go full DLL. I wouldn't say you've made it, but you're pretty fucking close because that's hard to do, right?
Well, I mean, it is just a one keystroke, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not hard.
yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Like, I guess I was interested in hearing how you recognize the portion of your journey that you're on, and how even with the practices you're doing now is potentially creating, a barrier for you that you're going to have to overcome, down the road when you are looking to size again, when you are looking to move back into the mini area rather than the micro area, and all of
I
that.
would
We
say I
become
don't know
creatures of habit. So.
if it happened on Monday. I don't think I'd have a problem taking it. And the only reason I say that now is two things. One, because I know my numbers and I know what I like. I now get it, commas. And two, it's within my risk management. I think that's why people don't like. If I lose, like I am on minis now. I was on micros. I am on minis now. But if I was to lose my mini trade on Monday, would it be annoying? Yeah, but dude, I have like 20 more goes. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm good. And that's why people freak out. That's why I hopped on. It's not necessarily just because psychology. It's because they're way too oversized. Of course you're gonna be nervous. You're putting half your count on the fucking line. You know what I mean? Especially if you're trading NQ. Like that thing's a like it's insane. 1 minute you're up
Yeah.
100 ticks, next minute you're down 300. So, like if I
Mm.
said to you, Mark, here's $3,000 and your A plus setup came, and I go, there's no retribution, that's yours. You'd probably be able to take that trade super easy, right?
Hang on, do I get to keep it, or am I trading for you? Like suddenly my head goes to like, what's going on here?
It's just it's
What-
just a free
what?
$1,000. It's free. It's
Oh
free.
yeah, look at
Why
it.
is everyone
Yeah.
profitable on demo? Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Right? Why is
The
everyone good
stress
at
is
poker
completely
on?
different.
Yeah, why is everyone good at poker online when it's free money? Because
Yeah,
there's no stress. You're easy peasy. I used to
because
one of the
larder is
things.
not in it. That's why.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, when I was like 6 months of trading. I literally sat there and I said to my partner at the time, I go, I'm a worse trader 6 months later than I was on my first day trading. And she was like, what? No way. You know everything about volume profile, TPO, and blah, blah, blah. And like, you can write a book about this stuff. You study so much. And I'm like, yeah, but like 6 months ago, I didn't care and I didn't oversize and I wasn't, trying to pass a combine in 10 seconds. The pressure wasn't getting to me. And that's when it clicked. I was like, how can someone, like, I've seen people who are terrible traders, but they do really well at the start because they're like, oh, price is going up, so I long. And I'm like, no, bro, there's like a
Mm.
TPO swing failure pattern, volume profile, no buys, no highs. And the other dude's just like, bro,
Dude, you're talking
price is
about
going.
Patrick Wyland, man. He's a good
Yeah.
trader, but he
Yeah,
don't know what
yeah,
he's doing.
yeah, right. But sometimes the shit is like the easiest, right? The price is going up, I long. Whereas we're all here trying to be geniuses, right? And yeah, I think you just realize after a while that you're not a genius and something needs to change.
Well, I think this has been amazing, guys. Well, I'm heading out. You
Yep.
guys are feel free to
Mm.
stay in and chill more. Housemaster, do you have anything to add? Because this was your thing, man, and I wanted to thank you
Yeah, he
again
brought
because
this.
you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you're
Thanks,
you're freaking
man.
amazing, bro. I loved what you did, bro. I truly,
No.
truly.
I just it was just my hope to see less blow ups, and I think it's also an investment because I'm not making the group better, but I'm also making myself better, right? It's the power of a
Yeah.
community if everyone
Amazing.
contributes.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna
Appreciate
end
it.
Yeah.
the recording